Yo, yo, yo. What is up, guys? All right. Let's check in with Twitch. How do we sound here, Twitch? Okay, sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Just getting set up real quick. All right. All right. Just check the audio one more time. Yeah, I think yeah, we have a bunch. Just waiting till you know, whoever gets the notification can join in. Um but yeah, we have another episode and I have another guest today. I think it'll be a very fun discussion as we're only a couple days, not even a couple, we're like less than 2 days away from the launch. And I think it'll be fun to talk about some of our plans, like my plan and our guest Snaplocket, his plan. And yeah, I'm just excited. Hopefully, we don't ramble on too long. I want to keep it short. So yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of things to talk about, but we're just gonna talk about the core things. At this point, everyone knows what the relics are. At this point, we know what the regions are, the echo weapons. We now even know like builds and stuff. Um, but we're just gonna talk and have you guys second guessing your choices just for the fun of it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a few minutes and I'm gonna check in with Snap, see how he's doing, and then he'll join in and we will kind of get started. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited. Super excited for the league. Super excited for the convo. I think these episodes have been fun overall. I've been getting solid feedback. even in the Discord, I get like messages from Discord. Um, it's just kind of like fun to just like kind of interact with people, and then they're like, "Oh, uh, I like this idea. I like that idea. I like that talking point." Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, I'm gonna call Snap right now. Gonna pull this stuff for his. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Oh yeah, yeah. No, I feel you on that. I'm always worried about my settings too. Like right now, I'm trying to do some sound testing. So let's see. Mm-hmm.
Set up just in case.
Yep, yep. Can you just how's your day going? I just want you to just talk a little bit so I could do a rough little audio test.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Day has been going pretty well. Dogs are nicely fed. Super excited about the league. It is going to be very, very difficult to sleep over the next 2 nights. I can tell you that. I've already been having some trouble sleeping lately because of the excitement. So that's
No, I
that's about
feel
how
you.
things are going here.
I feel the exact same way. I've been just having like a random I've been randomly waking up at 6 a.m. So I think like it's my body is like ready for the league to go live, so I could wake up early. Um
Exactly. It's prepped and ready. I've been doing so much research into everything about this league, relics, pacts, areas. I don't know if I know exactly what time the league starts.
I Oh
That's
my
such a
god,
basic piece of information.
that was exactly one of my notes that I wrote down just like randomly because I said the same thing. I wrote down like I have so much information, I've done so much research, but I'm like starting to not even know the basics. Like I don't know when the league's starting at all. Like I still don't. Like
Like normally, okay, when actually I may have answered the question for myself here because we were just
mhm.
talking about the countdown website.
Yeah.
And it says that it starts at 11 a.m. UTC. So if I convert that to my own time,
Okay, UTC, okay.
oh shoot, what time am I in right now? Am I in Pacific Standard or Pacific Daylight?
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, do you have a link for that countdown site?
yes, I've got it. I can send that over to you right there.
Take a look. Let's pull it up.
Okay, between March and November.
10
Cool. We
hours.
are in Pacific Daylight Time.
Mhm. Okay, so
Okay. I hate daylight savings time, and I
yeah,
want them
yeah,
to
yeah.
abolish it because of stuff like this.
No, I agree with that. Like daylight saving always messes me up. Um, but yeah, I think it's starting 7 a.m. my time. You said Pacific, so it must be starting what 4 a.m. your time.
Yes, and that's
Oh my god.
standard for me because normally they'll start a league in November right before
Yep,
daylight savings time
yep, yep.
ends, which is good because if it wasn't, then I would have to wake up at 3 a.m.
Hmm.
So I was worried that I was going to have to do that this time around, but thank goodness we are in this time zone right now. So maybe I do like daylight savings time now. I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's the good old 4 a.m.
Oof. It's gonna be a little rough.
I'm trying unsuccessfully, mind you, to reset my sleep schedule so that I'm waking up earlier and going to bed earlier. I tried a 7 a.m. wake up today. That turned into more like a 7:30.
Yep.
Tomorrow I'm gonna try to push it to 6 a.m. as a wake up time, and then maybe the 4 a.m. won't feel as daunting.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the last couple of days I've been waking up at 6, but because it's like so early that like by the time afternoon comes, I just like crash. I'm like, I just gotta take a nap. Like I can't do this, you know.
Dude, naps. By the way, have we started, or should we do like some sort of introduction
W-
first? Is
w-
this like B-roll?
yeah, yeah. We'll roll a little bit, and then I'll do like a little formal introduction, then we can get started.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Um.
dude, naps. I made the mistake of putting a couch in my office slash gaming room,
Mhm.
and it's a pretty comfortable couch that I can lay down on, pretty comfortably. And ever since that thing came in, I'll like halfway through the day glance over it and be like, you know what sounds really nice right now? Just like laying down, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna sleep. I'm just gonna lay down, just gonna rest my legs, rest my feet for a minute. And then I lay down. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this blanket right here feels pretty comfortable. I'll just kind of cozy up with that. And then, like, it's so dangerous. I fall
Yep.
asleep so easily
Yep.
there.
Yeah, like I'm from the East Coast, and it's been like cold for the last couple of days,
Mhm.
and whenever it's cold, like the bed just feels so nice to just like
Right?
crawl into, or the couch with like a nice blanket. uh
Dude, yeah. A nice cozy blanket on a brisk
yeah.
spring chilly day is like super cozy. I feel it.
But tomorrow is about to be 80, like, so maybe.
Hard pivot.
Yeah, it's a hard pivot, so maybe I'm like, I don't want to be sweating in my bed, like let's actually get to work.
And then the computer's in the same room and it's generating a whole bunch of heat. Your
Mm-hmm.
monitors are giving off heat.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. All right, yeah, let's get started. I'll do a quick little
All right.
introduction, and then
Heck yeah.
we'll kind of get it going. All right, here goes something. What's up, guys? I'm Sid Vicious, and back with episode 3. This time we have a new guest, Snap Locket, and I've come across a bunch of YouTubers over the past couple of days, just watching a bunch of YouTube content, what they're putting out, etc. And I saw Snap, and like the first thing I noticed was just his voice, and it was just, I don't know what to say. Like some people have like a really, really nice voice that like gets you excited to watch videos. And I was just kind of like locked in, and I had to reach out to him and just see if he wanted to do this just in a way where I could just meet new people, try new content, etc. So our guest today is Snap Locket. How are you?
Hey man, thank you. That is such a nice compliment, by the way. And again, I'm super, super thankful that you reached out to me because this is going to be really fun. It's fun to talk about RuneScape. It's fun to talk about a league. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am so freaking excited for this thing. I tend to take these leagues pretty seriously, right? So like
Yeah.
I've taken the last three, or I should say the first 3 days of this league off of work. I'm going to be doing some meal prepping tomorrow. I, I'm like, I might be taking it too seriously. I was doing some dishes in the kitchen earlier, and while washing a knife, it slipped, and I like cut my finger just
Oof.
slightly, and I was like, "Oh no, I cut my finger like right before the league, like I'm some professional athlete that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pulled a muscle the day before the big game or something." I'm
Yeah.
like, hold on a second. Maybe I'm taking this a little too seriously.
No, I totally understand. So, just a little bit about me. Like, I primarily do a lot of PoE content, and we have a lot of league starts. And one of the main things is to have that league start like prep, and that includes, meal prep, like making your sleep is taken care of, make sure all your chores are done, like you take days off. Like I do the same thing, and I plan on doing something similar too. I'm taking the first 3 days off and kind of just going hard in the league, see how it goes.
Heck yeah. I mean, it's a fun time. This is like one of the things that I most look forward to
Hmm.
about like RuneScape. I have over the past couple of years as they've been doing these leagues just gotten more and more excited. I am curious, what is your experience with RuneScape's leagues? Like how many have you participated in? I assume this isn't your first one.
Yeah, so I've played from the very first one,
Oh, heck yeah.
but I haven't gone like too deep. Like for example, I played Zaya, the first one, and I definitely was not a walker. I don't know about you. Um, and then I think the only one I missed out on was Shattered Relics. All
Mm-hmm.
the Trailblazer ones were like really fun, and last league is when I went like super hard, where I went for the Dragon Cup and all that jazz, and I even made a second account. It was super super fun. So for
Yeah,
me,
that second account content is great when you're like, I'm gonna try all the things I didn't get to try
yeah,
on the first playthrough.
yep. Um, yeah, so actually, that'll be a good segment to talk about. Like, what do you think about like the first day? Like, what is like your main excitement slash feeling slash that you're looking towards when you get the first day? Because I know
For
my
the
feeling.
very first couple of minutes of the
Yeah,
league opening up, everyone running around.
yep,
This one I'm so excited for. So, like, obviously, everybody knows this. We're starting in Varlamore this time. I think
mm-hmm,
that's really going to be interesting because, one, it's a brand new region that we've never had a league start in. So, all of the tried and true, meta early day progressions, task lists, all of that's out the window, right?
yeah,
But then too, Varlamore is like the newest region in RuneScape, so I'm sure you've got a lot of people in the main game who haven't really explored it. I'm sure you have a lot of people who are going to come back to the game who
mm-hmm,
maybe have never set foot in Varlamore. So I think it's just going to be very chaotic in like the best way possible. I'm definitely going to go down a slightly weird route, and there's a very good reason for it. And we're going to get into this a little bit when we
yep,
talk about like our particular relic selections, because you'll notice that the second relic, spoiler alert, I am leaning heavily into taking the Woodsman relic, and the
mm-hmm,
main reason I'm doing that is because Hunter terrifies me,
yeah,
like like
yes.
so much so.
I mean, to your point, like, I'm one of those people, right? Like, I don't play a lot of RuneScape, but I play a ton of leagues. And one of the biggest things for me in particular is like, I don't know anything about Varlamore, right? Like, I've just last couple of days, like, I've been just running around trying to do all the quests, trying to like get
Well, that's
familiar with
awesome.
it.
So
And
you're exactly who I'm talking about here then.
yeah,
Somebody who's like, it's very new content for you. And
mm-hmm,
like that's exciting. That gives you that feeling that I mean, again, I'm not sure like what your overall experience is with RuneScape if it was something that you played as a kid, but like that's what really brings me that level of like young Snaplocket nostalgia back to me is like
mm-hmm,
playing in a new area on a fresh account with very little idea of what's going on. It seems like every tiny step you make feels like big progress because
yep,
like at that stage of an account it really is. And like that's what playing RuneScape as a kid was for me, like opening up that Taverley Gate for the first time, stepping into a members
Traveler
area, like
Gate,
trying to find out what's at the edge of the map. Like does the
yeah,
world map, is it just black on the side and there actually is something there and it's just not loading, or do you just approach it and it really is just, an empty void?
yeah, yeah.
So
No, I totally agree with that point. Like for me, um again, like I like to bring up PoE a lot because I play that a lot. And for me, it's like a game that's almost sort of like solved for me. Of course, there's a bunch of things that I still don't know because it's such a big, massive game and so many different ways to play it. But whenever I come to like different games, especially games that I enjoy, like RuneScape, it's really fun for me to just have a game where I don't know things and just run around and figure things
yeah,
out.
just make it up as you go, live
Mm-hmm.
off of the world. Like now, on that topic, I am curious, um, how you think that's going to play into the whole pact system this time around.
Mm.
Because I would say this league, more so than any league they've done previously, I
Yeah.
feel like you almost need to have some sort of plan, even if it's just a main plan. Like, oh, I'm looking
Yeah.
at pack system and I want to go down this route. Like this one end game pact is the one that I really want, and everything else will just kind of build off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like this is the one time that I've seen the potential that somebody comes in here and they're like either really overwhelmed by the
Mm.
pact system and that turns them away, or and maybe even a worse or they start building out a system that doesn't really make sense because they don't know a lot of the nuance interactions that like RuneScape combat has or something, and they just create a pack tree that's like kind of completely messed up. And even with the couple of respects, like maybe they don't have enough experience to really build something that actually feels good to play in. So
Yeah.
what is your thought process there beyond like from your perspective, balancing this sort of like, I want to go in without much planning, but I want to make sure that I have enough knowledge that I don't just shoot myself in the foot with some
Mm-hmm.
early bad picks with pacts.
Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of the things, even like the devs have been like talking about it. They've been mentioning a lot of PoE and their
Yeah, I've heard it come
inspiration.
up a lot, like from them and from several people in the league's Discord as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they straight up said their inspiration for this pack tree was from Path of Exile. And you know, looking at this, it is very like daunting. But since I've looked at a PoE tree like for like I don't know how many hours of my life, this is like a piece of cake. But
You
what
feel right at home, huh?
yeah, I feel right at home. But the main difference here is like I understand what I'm looking at. I understand the nodes and stuff, but I don't know too much about like items in the game, right? Or like how they
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like go together. Like for example, like I was looking a lot like at builds and stuff, and I was like looking at what kind of items I can get early on, etc. Like I know like some of the old items like bandos and things like that, like Torva
hmm
and
hmm
whatnot. But there's like some niche items like the sunlight spear, or sorry, the crossbow. Um,
Oh, yeah, Sunlight Hunter's crossbow, huh?
yeah, yeah. So things like that is like when I'm looking at it, like this is a very powerful mid game item, and um, i- those type of things are like very important for a lot of players to kind of get
Yeah,
rolling
definitely.
to
hmm
have like a smooth experience while they're playing
hmm
leagues.
hmm I've seen a couple people talk about some suggestions for most people's early plan, and I feel like this is going
Mm-hmm.
to be like what most people decide to do because in Varlamore we have the Moons of Peril triple bosses that drop a range set, a melee set, and a mage set,
Yep.
and so right there you've got like pretty decent gear that's pretty accessible. I feel like you're going to see a lot of people just go down that route, and once they have it, they're like, okay, now I've got, pretty decent gear here. I've got some basic stuff I can start to build off of. But
Yeah.
you're totally right. This is like the third time I think that I have forgotten about and then been reminded about things like the Sunlight Hunter's crossbow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's so many items in this game, and I feel like you're going to see some really niche ones like that kind of pop up as like oh, if you know about this, that's actually a pretty decent option for,
Yep.
mid game, maybe even early game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the other thing is the one thing I don't like, and I kind of have to see like what they whether they do anything about it, is the three resets. Like I feel that
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be more, and like the thing is like again I'll do like a comparison to PoE. In
Yeah,
PoE,
please do.
um there's like ways to reset and whatnot, like reset your passive tree, and you could like fully reset or reset a couple of nodes. And as you play the game, you get a bunch of free respecs, and then you can get currency to do respec. So if you wanted to, you could respec 1,000 times, right?
Oh, wow,
uh,
interesting.
but there's a cost to it.
Mhm, mhm,
Like you have to be able to get that currency. It's not that expensive, but you still have to do it. You have to like look for it, right? Like target farm it, um, and things like that. And I feel like since this thing is so new, and there's so many interactions, right? There's like so many spell interactions, all these different
Mm-hmm.
items and different attack styles and whatnot. I definitely think that 3 is a little too low, and I think doing the respec itself is a little too difficult. Like the echo
Oh
bosses,
gosh, yeah,
they can be challenging for a lot of people.
definitely. Yeah, talking about the respecs, I was literally just thinking about this earlier today, and it's kind of brought up a second a second thing that I could see going wrong. Like some of these end game builds are
Mm-hmm.
so extremely specific, like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
where if you mess up a single node, it can
Mm-hmm.
throw off your build. Because if you like, take the wrong node when you were planning on going a different direction, you could be locking yourself out of like, 4 or 5 end game nodes just
Yeah.
because you not necessarily misclicked. I'm sure they're going to have plenty of like confirmation windows
I
up
hope
here that's like,
so.
are you sure you want to do this?
I
Are you sure
hope
you want to do this?
so.
Yeah. But assuming somebody does make a mistake, maybe it's the end of the day. You've been playing leagues for 22 hours because you got up at 4 a.m. on the first day, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, right before I go to bed, I'm just gonna unlock one more pact. You click it, you wake up the next morning, and you're like, wait a second, that's the wrong pact. And
Mm-hmm.
now I've like cut myself off of a specific tree, or I'm not going to be able to get this one other node that was going to be pretty critical to a build. And
Yep.
so then what do you do? What are you left with? Well, you're left with burning one of your precious respects just to get it correct, or maybe you just live with the decision. And then what you were talking about with like the respects and how tedious it might be to reset it up. I suddenly
Mm-hmm.
got really worried that like somebody's going to respec, and then as they're building their tree again, they're going to mess something else up
Mess something
there.
else up. Yeah. Like
Right?
just
Like that's terrifying.
just like different pathing, like especially if you're like allowed to click further into the tree and it like routes you a different way than you intended.
I would doubt like you're talking about like the tools that we have on like the
Yeah,
wiki
yeah.
or
But
yeah, I would assume that in the main game they're gonna have you do this a single node at a
at a
time,
time, yeah, yeah.
not in groups, which I think is going to reduce the number of mistakes that way. Because I think what you were going to say was that like sometimes you'll click on
Mm-hmm.
that end game node, and it'll path you
Path you a different way.
through a
Yeah.
way that you didn't want to, which
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed while using the little tool to build.
Yeah. Also, like concerns with that is like I feel like maybe even like content creators, like if I put out a build, like I'm kind of afraid, right? Because it's just like, what if I do that by accident and like I don't like adjust for it or
I mean,
uh,
it keeps happening to me even when I'm
yeah.
doing theory crafting. I'll be looking at the packed tree, and I'm like, all right, I've got it set up. And then like an hour later, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hold on a second. This whole time I've been running DPS calcs and I forgot this one node.
Yep.
Or this whole time I've been running DPS calcs and like I've missed something else, yeah. So it's definitely complex. I will say, I think as of maybe today, I've finally wrapped my head around what I want my end game packed
Mm-hmm.
tree to look like.
Yeah.
And it's really taken that long
Mm-hmm.
to plan out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
So yeah, tell
is
me
it too
about it.
complicated? Is it not complicated enough? Yeah, I sent you an image earlier. I'm not sure if I
Yeah,
should
yeah.
send you like
I
a
have
higher
it
quality one
somewhere.
that you want to flash up on screen, or I'm not sure if you'll do this stuff in post or like live on here, but I'll
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
what, I will
I'm pulling it
send
up on
you.
live right now.
Cool. I can send you a link to the wiki where it has
Sure.
like all the packs already built out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
this is
nice.
this is what I'm currently settling on. And this is totally subject to change. Like I have
Okay.
been kind of all over the place with a lot of this, but I was really digging into some of the DPS calcs and kind of the regions that I have, the end game goals that I have. I knew very early on that I wanted to go a magic route. Initially, before they had revealed the pact system, before too much was going on, I was like, if there's any way to get a one tick Eye of Ayak, then I'm gonna go that way.
Right.
And so that's what kind of got my brain thinking the magic route. Then when the Pacts system came out and I saw all of this fun stuff about elemental builds, I was like, oh yeah, I need to go down an elemental route. That sounds super awesome. And then
Mm-hmm.
of course, like the Echo Boss information comes out, and we get the information about the Shadow Flame quadrant and the Devil's Element, and it just my eyes lit up like a child in a candy store. And I was like, this is definitely it. So I knew I wanted to go elemental build. Initially, I was thinking very much water build. I love passive healing effects because it just makes a lot of things very comfortable. And so I started out that train of thought until I saw everybody start talking about how busted an airbender
Yep.
build is, right?
Yep.
Specking deep into those air relics, getting that like near guaranteed max hit potential with a lot of prayer gear. And it already fed into the region selection that I had going,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously I knew I wanted to take Kandarin for the Echo items there, and Zaya was locked in for me pretty early on, just because I've been talking with my friends. My wife is also a RuneScape player, and all of us were like, okay, which raid do we want to
Nice.
focus on this league? And none of us did anything with Chambers of Zarek in Raging Echoes, and so we're like, how
Ooh.
about this time around we switch it back around? We hit up Zaya, we do some challenge mode chambers, and so I already had that in my brain. And a lot of the items you get from the Zaya region, from the Karend region,
Mm-hmm.
fit really nicely into the Airbender build. I feel like a lot of people are like, you need Kandarin, you pretty much need Zaya, and then the third region is kind of like whatever you want.
Whatever you
So
want.
right off
Yeah.
of the bat, I'm like, this is exactly going to plan. So then we start to get into the nuances. And, we were kind of talking about this earlier, like you can pick this one pact or this one pact or this one
Mm-hmm.
pact or this one pact. And what I've settled on here is my wanting to flesh out my off style a little bit.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people do an airbender build, do an air build that leans almost entirely into air spells,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't give you any flexibility with off style stuff. And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people, I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. I was initially leaning that direction and, trying to take as many accuracy pacts as possible. I think I've still got most of them on here.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to realize while doing some of these calcs that for these places where I feel like magic spells are going to struggle with accuracy,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably better to just use a different combat style entirely. And
Mm-hmm.
so with that, I wanted to give myself some flexibility. And in other situations as well, where like, most raids require all three combat styles.
Yeah.
And so thinking about how I want to balance myself out there such that I could maybe do some of those raids solo and not have to rely on other people who are specking deeper into other combat styles. Or like I mentioned earlier, my wife is also a RuneScape player, and she's going to go very heavily into like a melee focused build
Mm.
with a side of range. And so I'm like, okay, how can I like help pad some of her weaknesses in her build, so that, the two of us together can just breeze through any of the content that we want to do. And so
Yeah.
I've ended up here with this sort of like focus primarily on air and magic elemental, going down a slight crossbow build
Okay.
for range stuff. And I will probably do a lot of the crossbow stuff at the very end, like that multi echo pact and the double accuracy for the crossbows. I'm thinking those are going to be my two final pacts that I pick up.
Okay.
And then I've got a little melee build here, which I wasn't thinking was going to be that good. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like initially I was looking at the melee section of the tree and just being like, oh gosh, like it's so difficult to use few points here and get big return. That
Yeah.
was until I did the DPS calcs with a 3-tick abyssal tentacle and that one pact that increases your melee strength by 20% of its level. And like those two alone give you really, really solid melee DPS anywhere that you need melee. So I'm thinking like, Ulm melee hand, Tecton, Vardorvis, Sol from the Colosseum. These places where like you kind of really want to use melee or you're kind of really forced to.
Right.
This is pretty decent once you get into like an end game setup with like, your full oath plate, your infernal cape, your ferocious gloves, your amulet of torture from Kandarin, like a lot of these things.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I think I'm pretty happy with this section. But okay, here's the big but. This
Okay.
is the end game packed tree, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I am definitely planning a two, maybe even a three-phase system with pacts where I'm strategically using those resets to
Yes.
start the early game way different from the end game. Because one of the biggest weaknesses of an airbender build is that in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of that prayer gear, you don't have, a lot of magic bonus, you don't maybe have as many pacts, it kind of stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Um.
Yeah. So now I will say as like a final thing here. Now that I've piqued everyone's curiosity with that, I still don't have my opening build done
Build
yet. I
setup.
don't
Okay.
have the
Gotcha.
phase one of the tree done yet.
Yeah.
That's like the last thing that I need to work on here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because this is this looks a very well like a well-rounded build, but what would you start as? It's like you have so many options here. You could go crossbow, you can go magic more likely, as
Hmm.
like a starter, and then it seems like the melee is like kind of like a side thing. And I agree with you what you said like towards the end. Like I think I'm planning to do a lot of respecking as well, and then also try to save a respec just to see if like right now the airbender build came out maybe like 2 days ago. Like some people were
Hmm.
like theory crafting. So once we get our hands on this pack system and once people start playing with it, I think we'll get a lot of different builds that we're not thinking of. And
Yeah, definitely.
having one saved respec is going to help out a lot. So
Yeah, just in case there's that one super cracked build that comes out that you're like, oh,
mhm.
I kind of really want to try that. Even if it becomes something that's like at the very end of the league when you pretty much have all of your gear, you're at your Dragon Cup already, and you just want to try out a different build that
Yeah.
you didn't have. Right. When they first announced that you were going to be allowed to respec this whole tree, that was where my thought process initially was like, oh,
Mhm.
well, at the end of the league, I could try out some different builds.
Different things,
It
yeah.
wasn't until like a day or two later that I was like, hang on, you can actually like use these things to kind of stage your account.
Mhm.
And truthfully, I think that is the reason why this pack tree has been so daunting to me personally, is because we have the freedom to respec. I think if we were given this
Yeah.
and they were like, your choices are locked in, I think my end game goal would probably look different from this, just because
Gotcha.
I'm thinking about how am I going to progress through it,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But the
And
fact that you have these respecs means that you can set something up in the early game that's completely different from your end game. And that's just making me have to do like double work essentially. I'm planting two different trees here, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult to especially for me, right? Like to figure out like what is the power spikes that I need to deal with certain things, and like
Definitely.
what kind of item should I aim for and what kind of style I should go for. And what I was thinking actually is I was thinking like when I'm looking at my tier 2 relics, I'm like kind of swaying myself more towards woodsman.
Yeah,
and
man.
and I'm
Join the
thinking,
hunter club.
yeah, and because of the sunlight crossbow, I'm thinking maybe this is the angle that I need to go for early on. um
Hmm.
like my plan, I think, we'll see what happens, when it starts, but the plan is to not do too much combat on day 1. and
Dude, same.
and
Oh, I'm so happy someone else said it.
yeah, and it's just to do a lot of skills, and
Hmm.
plan on doing hunter and go for like a crossbow setup. And
Hmm.
actually I want to go towards throwing, what should I call it, thrown weapons, and go for a
Ooh.
chinning route. Um,
Oh.
and
As like your early game sort of combat style?
yeah, so I'm gonna push like
Whoa.
high range by going the chinning route, and also try to get to like culling spree and do a lot of like
Mhm.
slayer task via chinning. So
That's such an interesting idea for an opening route, something that like I don't think I've heard before. I think it sounds like fun, especially, pairing the bonus chinchompas that you'll get from the woodsman relic. Like you're gonna be able to collect those things
mhm.
super, super easily, super quickly, right?
Yeah.
Um, dude, yeah.
So this is
What do you think?
something
Because oh yeah,
uh,
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna. I don't know if you're on stream, but this is sort of like the route of like my early progression. That's what it looks like.
Let me look here. I should be able to pull up something. Wait, how do I actually view what you're sharing?
Here, let me send you a
My
link.
my okay.
Um, but yeah, I think that's like the route that I was going for. Eh,
Let's get to here we go. Gonna mute this so I don't hear myself.
oh yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go. Okay, yeah, I see what we're looking at. I see what we're looking at. Okay, so crossbow, and again, you're thinking the sunlight crossbow for this section,
Yes.
right? Interesting.
There is also like plans like maybe I go like kind of around to skip this this uh the
Mhm.
crossbows attack to take slower.
Yeah.
But I think it's like
Which actually, I think that's not a bad plan, especially with an already speedy sunlight crossbow.
yeah, that was my goal, but like the main thing is are the points and like early game
Hmm.
points. Like I was like looking at some of the tasks and I'm like, what are some of these tasks and like how easily can I do them? And
Yeah,
17
no, when you talk
points is
about
quite a
tasks,
bit.
are you thinking about like tasks that give you packed points as well?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Just the pack
Hmm,
points.
hmm.
Like some of the boss tasks, like my regions are gonna be Kandarin, Wilderness, and Tyrnwyn, and in that
Hmm.
order. And I do have like a couple of easy tasks, but with Kandarin specifically, most of my tasks are all Slayer related. Like
They're
I need,
all Slayer, Kraken, Trident
yeah,
of the Seas, Abyssal
mm-hmm,
Tentacle, Occult Necklace. It's like
yep,
you kind of want Culling Spree before you push towards that. And
mm-hmm.
Culling Spree is
Like
what
tier
tier is it
six,
even
I
in? I'm
think tier
I'm
6.
confused. Yeah, tier 6. And so if we base that off of Raging Echoes points, tier 6 was at 8,000 points.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty
that's a lot
deep.
of
It's
points.
a lot, yeah. And that's my reason for pushing combat until like maybe day 2 or uh,
Agreed. Yeah. I
uh
was literally just writing down kind of my phase 1 steps earlier today, and
mm-hmm.
I have something written on here that's like, don't do combat until you reach at least tier 3, maybe even tier 4.
Yeah.
Like at least at tier 3 you get that extra combat XP
XP, yeah.
multiplier, so like it definitely makes sense to wait. And tier 3 is pretty low points. Again, if we go off of Raging Echoes, that was 2,500 points, so like super super easy to do with
Mm-hmm.
just focusing on skilling. And then I'm thinking about like some combat waiting until tier 4, because that's when you get your 5x like item drop rate boost. And
Yeah,
so at
yeah.
least if you're
True.
going into like your Moons of Peril, or if you've unlocked your first unique region and you're starting to look at some of the entry bosses there or some of that stuff, you probably want to wait until you get that tier 4 for that RNG boost. Let's
Yes.
see. My because let's I think you had it somewhere. My
Oh, your tree.
current plan,
Yep.
and this actually flipped since I sent it to you earlier today.
Oh,
Initially, I was
oh.
gonna go Karend first and
Okay.
Kandarin second. I've since flipped on that. I might flip again, but at
Okay.
least Karend is pretty early on in the system, and I'm kind of looking at that. What is it called? The Nature's Resolve or the Nature's Recurve from the Echo Hespori boss,
Oh, yeah, the
and
bow.
wondering, yeah, the bow, and wondering if it would be fun to do sort of like a bow build as part of like my entry plan,
Okay.
because with the Woodsman relic I'm going to have like pretty high fletching levels. I can easily get things like dragon arrows, maybe even start up with something simple like an MSB, because that's going to be super durable with the extra fletching boost that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering, like, I haven't again done DPS calcs on this early game bow build, but like maybe that bow with the passive healing and the passive prayer regen will be enough to get me through some of this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that early game plan has got to include some sort of melee focus. And I've seen several people talk about it as like, what should your first kind of 8 pacts be? Because
Yeah.
like if you look at the list that everyone has
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
the global region, the Varlamore region, and the Karumja region, there's like 8 points in there that are
Easy
so
to get.
easy to get,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the ninth one is probably like your Echo Amoxhliatl. So you're probably looking at like setting yourself up with those first 8 points, doing the Echo Amoxhliatl, and then using that weapon that you get from it and taking it to Moons of Peril, which is pretty much a melee focused set of bosses.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what does an opening sort of packed tree look like where you do enough spec into melee where you can get down Echo Moxhliatl and do your Moons of Peril, grind out all those items pretty efficiently, and
Yeah.
then have some points left over and specialize in maybe another combat style that helps you do some other tasks?
Mm-hmm.
And what's that going to look like for me? Is it going to be this Echo Hespori bow, or will I start leaning into water magic at that point for like a little bit of sustain to do some like longer bossing trips?
Yep. Yep.
Breeze through the fight caves and get that fire cape because like everything's weak to water in there anyways.
Yep.
I don't know. I really feel like I'm going to be flip-flopping all over the place. I've also heard some people who are like adamant that if you're going some sort of elemental build, like you've got to take desert first because like immediate access to ancients, you unlock
Oh,
that
right.
one pact that gives you like water barrage,
Water
and then like
barrage. Yeah.
Slayer
Yeah.
is a breeze. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that sounds pretty good too. But I was planning on taking desert last, which like,
Yeah,
so-
there's so much decisions, so much things. Like, and that's the thing, like, I was pretty locked in on everything that I was going for until like today, where I just felt like, I don't know, for some reason I just started thinking about things and I'm like, I want to
overthinking
change.
probably, huh?
Yeah, probably overthinking. Um I just I've been using this build planner, leaks planner, just to kind of
hmm
look at it. So I just built yours, and I'll just have mine up next to it, so then we can kind of both look at our choices, and we don't really have to talk about all the relics, but some different choices that we made we could like talk about.
Definitely, yeah.
uh
Compare and contrast some of that stuff.
yes, yes. So let me just, okay, cool. So talk to me about your main goal with your regions and your relic choices.
Absolutely. So, I think a lot of I spoke on this earlier that I've got friends that really wanted to do Chambers of Zarek, and that kind of be our main raid region.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty set on Zaya and Kandrin early on, and then the third one was all kinds of up in the air. I was kind of tossing between Fremennik, Ronwyn, and Desert at the end there, and settled on Desert because that same set of friends also picked Desert. Two
Okay.
of my best friends are going to do that King's Barrage build
Yeah.
with like the Wilderness and the KBD crossbow, and it benefits a lot from the desert region, right? With like full Missouri and Venator ring and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, I was like, well, I think I'll pick desert. There's enough benefits there for me with like Guardians of the Rift as kind of a runecraft solve, fun content that I enjoy, a second raid, which is always good just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
If I was playing this league more efficiently or really wanted a bigger power set, I probably would have gone to Ronwyn for
Okay.
the Crystal Blessing, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's very strong.
And so that probably would have been like the smart choice, but I opted for the fun
Fun.
choice.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Y-
With that leads me into, if I could talk about my relic selection, because I
yes.
I think some people looking at it will probably be like, "What the heck is wrong with this guy? Like
Okay.
you don't have a solve for agility in here. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have a solve for herblore in here. You don't have a solve for runecraft in here. Like the
Yeah.
three worst skills, and none of my relics solve them."
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Go
I will
ahead. Yeah.
acknowledge that right off of the bat. I will own that. I will say that like I understand that those are going to be struggles for me and cut forward like, 3 or 4 weeks when I'm trying to max the account because I want to reach Dragon Cup and I'm
Okay. Yeah.
doing a horrible Herblore grind and I'm like, gosh dang it, I should have picked Nature's Accord instead of Larcenist.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as the relics were coming out, there was just so many that looked like fun.
Mm-hmm.
My relic selection changed pretty much every time they revealed something. Not every single time, but like almost every single time they revealed something. I was like, oh, I'm gonna flip to this. Like, I think my original plan before too much was going on was like Barbarian Gathering into Woodsman, into Evil Eye, into Clues, into
Mm-hmm.
Nature's Accord, into Culling Spree, into Reloaded, which I knew I was gonna go back for something. That was Soul Harvest for a while.
Okay.
Sometimes it was Larcenist. And then honestly, I still don't know which tier 8 relic I'm gonna pick, so we'll
Yeah.
just not talk about that right now. But then they would reveal something like transmutation. And I'm like, wow, that's just such a unique relic that
Yep.
I want to play around with
Mm-hmm.
that I think I can stomach not having a clue scroll relic this time around.
Right.
Um, we didn't talk about it earlier, but like my sort of league's history, every single league that has come about, I have picked the clue relic and I have not regretted it. I have
Right.
done Slayer the old-fashioned way in every single league because I love clue scrolls. I love just opening it up and getting a ton of loot. I love getting like third age items and gilded items in a league, even though they disappear after 8 weeks. It's like
Mm-hmm.
clue scrolls are so fun to me. So it's I'm still a little bit sad about not taking conniving clues because I love my clue scrolls, but I do think that Larcenist mixed with the Kandran region is gonna be enough of a clue solve for me. I think I'm
Mm.
gonna be able to get enough that I can do what I want to, at least do the tasks involved with them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like that's just one example of them revealing a relic that I'm like, that one looks like fun. Transmutation looks like a lot of fun. And so for so long, I had my heart set on taking Reloaded and solving one of these issues, taking Reloaded and going into Nature's Accord as a herblore solve, or even for a while, taking Reloaded and going back into conniving clues
Mm-hmm.
as, my way of taking that. And I knew there was that question mark above the relic in that tier 7 category for so long. And I'm like, gosh dang it. When they reveal what's up against Reloaded, I know that I'm going to be pulled to take it. And then Flow State comes out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no, that looks like too much fun to not take.
Yeah. For
So, like, yeah.
Yeah, like for sure. I mean, I think when they released Flow State, I was like, "Whoa, like this is super super cool." I don't even know what to do anymore. Um but like since I was so locked into my region choices and I was kind of, I put out a video on like sort of like easy way to get dragon. So I was like, I feel
Mhm.
like if I am gonna play the league, at least my first run through, let me continue on and like showcase how it is easy to get dragon. And
Heck
um
yeah.
and so I was like pretty locked in, and I think flow state is super cool. And even though like I feel like it has to be like my second account or something just to like try it out, um I feel pretty comfortable with the like my choices where,
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm trying to go for like the easiest way to max as possible just so you could get like a lot of points and then make your dragon journey a lot easier, without worrying about doing like the super difficult tasks like league
Yeah. Or the
6.
tedious tasks, right?
Yeah, yeah. Or the tedious tasks, exactly. And that's why like tier 2 has been like a struggle because I really don't want to do agility, but at the same time, I'm like I think woodsman is just much better, and it just seems like the better choice.
Mhm.
Um and then also
So
like
with that, I'm a little bit surprised that you don't take Barbarian Gathering for some of that passive agility XP you get from it. Is it something that you have considered or maybe are still considering, or are you pretty locked in on Endless Harvest?
so yeah, so here's the thing. I was actually thinking of like two different things, right? So I was thinking of endless harvest or abundance. And
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, so I was thinking of abundance because I was talking to a lot of like people on Discord, and I was trying to get more people on this sort of like this podcast thing. And I was talking
Yeah.
to a speedrunner, and they were talking about um like these exact same regions but with speedrunning, and they're gonna do like abundance, woodsman, and like transmutation and things like that. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, like that could be cool. But then like the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm not like super experienced to know some of like the fine details to be able to speedrun right now. um to compare it to like PoE, right? Like in PoE, I could do like, I'm like pretty decent at speedrunning. Like I wouldn't say I'm like top 1%, but I'm like definitely like maybe like top 10% in terms of like speedrunning. Um
Totally. Like, you know the strats, you've practiced some of them. You're like,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
what I'm doing here.
exactly. And for me, like if I was thinking about speedrunning in OSRS, I just gotta like think like, okay, how am I gonna do Zuck, right? Like, I don't have
Yeah.
much, I don't have much experience in Zuck. Like, I remember, yeah, like the first time I did Zuck was last leagues, um, and it was difficult because I didn't have Banker's Note, I didn't have
Oh, yeah.
um
Okay.
Last Stand either, so I just had to like actually do the mechanics, and I
You
couldn't
couldn't
mess
cheese
up.
it at all, man.
Yeah, so it was fun learning
Uh,
it, but I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to do that like 15 times if I want to be a speedrunner. And that just, I don't know if that's possible, you know?
yeah. So, like,
Uh,
is the speedrunning dream maybe evaporating a little bit?
yeah, so that's why I was like, okay, I think Endless Harvest is better, um, just because it just allows me to do other things, right? Like
Absolutely.
I'm gonna play like, pretty hard for the first like 3-4 days, and then after, I gotta snap back to reality a little bit, and I gotta like click for 30 minutes and do something else, um
It's going to be so great. There are so many good relics for that this time around. Like, you've got your Endless Harvest, which is 30 minutes of AFK.
mm,
Larcenist this time around has some really great AFK potential.
yep.
Butler's Bell giving you like resources when you aren't even freaking logged in. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
come on, it doesn't get better than
Yeah,
that. And
exactly.
even something like Transmutation that has an auto cast on it, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shoot, I've got to step away for a minute, but I've got this pile of resources that I want to convert up. I've got this pile of teak logs that I want to convert into mahogany logs for better construction XP.
Yep.
I'm just going to leave my character here, just auto transmuting those up. And then when I come back, I've got a whole bunch of passive magic XP. I've got a whole bunch of better logs. Like, they've really done a good job with leaning into the idea that like a lot of people don't have as much time to play, but still want to do well in a league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's so possible in this one, more so than any other league that they've done so far.
Yeah, I think it really empowers like different play styles. Also allows people to kind of, try different things. Like I think when they released, what was it, the final tier 6, a lot of people were saying like how it's bad, etc. But I think
Eternal Sustenance, you mean?
Yeah, Eternal Subsistence.
Oh,
Like
dude,
I
those
think,
people are wrong.
yeah, I think this is a very good, like especially for a beginner, or if you saw the video today, I was thinking about this too. With some of the builds, Sardako showed a Thorns build, and
Hmm.
all you have to do is just sit and eat. Like you don't even
Yep.
have to play
Just
the
put your
game.
armor on, reflect the damage, and just get really good at combo eating, right?
Yeah, and it's just like you just have to do that and go through the whole Coliseum, like whatever he showed. I think that is like incredible, right? Like
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're that type of person that's like, well, I don't really care about Slayer, or like the combat's going to be so quick anyways that I can
mm-hmm,
do Slayer the old fashioned way, and you're like, Grimoire, maybe my regions already solve that, or it's just not worth it. And
mm-hmm,
like, you are worried about those high tier pieces of content, your awakened bosses, your Inferno, your Jad challenges, your Coliseum, and you're like, man, like I'm somewhat good at the game, but like those pieces of content scare me, even with boosted combat. And you
Mm-hmm.
just want that extra, reassurance that like, oh, you're not gonna make it to Zuck and not have any food left and have to
Yeah,
redo the whole thing, or like you're not gonna make a mistake in the Coliseum and take a whole bunch of damage, and suddenly you're like, oh shoot, well that just burned through all my supplies. Eternal
exactly.
Sustenance is really good for a really good, a specific type of player, and I think that's something that a lot of people maybe miss when some of these reveals come out. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that I try as much as possible to talk about in all of my videos is like, no relic that they have revealed is bad.
Yeah,
It's just maybe bad for your particular playstyle
playstyle.
or
Yeah.
your particular build or something. But I feel like every single relic that they have revealed this time around has a use case. Like
Mm-hmm.
a really good example of this is in the tier 3 category. When they revealed Bank Heist, everyone is like, Bank Heist? Like, that's the stupidest teleport relic in the whole world. And
Yeah.
like, maybe if you're an experienced RuneScape player, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you aren't? What if you're a player who doesn't have a lot of RuneScape experience? What
Mm-hmm.
if you're a player like brand new to it? Like
Yeah.
one of the easiest things to find on the map is banks. Everybody knows where a bank is, right? That's like one of
Mm-hmm.
the most important things about playing RuneScape, unless you're an Ultimate Iron Man, in which case, like, I'm sorry. Uh, but like, so for that reason, it's good to have a relic in that category, especially when it's compared to things like Evil Eye and freaking Map of Alacrity, which looks like so much fun. But if you are new to the game and you take that relic, you won't know where any of those teleports are.
Right.
Maybe you get used to it, right? But right off the bat, it's really daunting versus maybe you just want a simple option like Bank Heist that just gets you to your main locations, and it isn't going to necessarily speed up your PVM, but it's unlimited teleports to everywhere, every like major civilization that you need to go to, and
Mm-hmm.
that is useful, right?
Yeah.
So some people think it's a bad relic, but I think it has use cases. I think it is good that they've put it in this relic tier list.
Yeah, I agree with you there as well because you know I make guides for PoE as well, and when you're making a guide for a game like super complicated, a lot of people like forget that a lot of veterans and experts, they know certain things,
Hmm.
and they talk in a language where it's kind of like matter of fact, right?
It
And
really is a different language.
yeah, and I kind of try to get like new players to follow my builds, right? And doing so, I have to like understand that hey, they're not gonna know what this is. They're gonna need help like over here,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's like a learning curve where once they know, then they will have a better idea in the future. Like for example, I think when we come back to leagues and RuneScape is Banker's Note. Like Banker's Note is a very very powerful, and a lot of people, even including myself, like when it was first introduced, I picked it because I needed that extra like reassurance when I was doing raids.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
then last time I didn't pick Banker's Note. I picked Total Recall. I had so much fun, and when it came to raids, I was fine. So like, and I also did Zuck without it. So, um,
Heck yeah. Kudos to you. I did Zuck last league with Banker's Note and Last Stand,
last
and it
time,
was
yeah,
still terrifying.
yeah. I mean, I it took me like 8 or 9 tries to do Zuck, so it was. But like the thing was, when I was doing it wasn't the food issue. It was just simply Zuck himself, and just
Oh yeah.
there's like small things, right? Like you have to like keep up with the shield. Like the first time I did it, I just didn't know where to stand. Like it's like the simplest thing, right? Because I'm just not prepared for it, and it's just like so much happening, and you just played for like 55 minutes straight, like trying to not mess up, and now
Yep.
you
And now you're
have
in this 10-minute boss fight where
yeah,
it's like one single mistake sends you all the way back to the beginning.
yep, and it's just so I do think like the relics, I think they are well designed. I think they cater for different people, and yeah, like first you all you might know if you're like a mid-tier player is are like banks. Like you'd
Mhm.
like think about training agility in the main game. You don't even know where the shortcuts are. Like you're probably like 50 agility. You have no idea like where these shortcuts lead you, but you'll have an idea where the banks are. You'll have an idea where some of the bosses are. And even then,
Yeah,
like most people
absolutely.
might not even know where the bosses
So
are.
maybe not, like, especially some of the more nuanced ones, because you might think, oh, teleport to any boss. That's
Hmm.
not exactly how the relic is worded. It's teleport to anything that's in the combat masteries list,
Yes.
which includes a couple of things that aren't like quote unquote bosses.
Hmm.
Like the only one I can think of right now is that the Tazar Ket Rex Jad challenges
Hmm.
are listed in there. So there's going to be a teleport to there. Now, granted, there's already a teleport to the Inferno and then another one to the Fight Caves. So
Yep.
that one's not super interesting, but I think there are a couple of examples like that in there that
Mm,
people might overlook, or it might be a nice surprise for them when they take that and they're like, oh, I didn't realize I could teleport to this thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, cool, cool. But yeah, I think your region selection looks pretty strong. The relics look
It's
pretty
gonna be a
good.
fun time, man. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I finished my thought process in terms of my relic choices, but
Yeah, sure.
just leaning into the fun aspect of it with a few of these relics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were talking earlier about doing a main playthrough, like on the main run that I do. I'm definitely going to go for a Dragon Cup because it's
Yeah,
always fun to do. But I don't care too much about how fast I get there. I
gotcha.
did a similar strategy in Raging Echoes last time where I just went in guns blazing, and then towards the end of things, once I've got like my rune cut pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of push that account off to the side, start to do some of the more AFK tasks, and that's
Yeah,
when I'll pull up the second run
yeah,
on a second account
yeah.
and do something completely different, which is
Mm-hmm.
really fun. And I kind of feel like this time around I've done it, at least with relic selection. I almost feel like I've done it in reverse,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm taking the fun relics that maybe I
First,
would
yeah,
take
yeah.
on a second playthrough. I've seemed like I've taken a couple of them first this time around, and that's really fun to me
Mm-hmm.
because getting thrown into an environment, getting thrown into a set of power ups, and then having to plan your strategy based off of that is kind of fun instead of doing it the other way around, which is taking the problem set and then trying to fit every single relic into that category. And again, that's why you'll see certain things on my tier list that's like, I don't have an agility solve, I don't have a real herblore solve, I don't have a real runecraft solve in there. And so trying to navigate how to do some of those more difficult skills, some of those more difficult grinds given this power set. Suddenly you look at a relic like transmutation and you're like, ooh, well, that actually does look pretty good for Herblore. Whereas if you had Friendly Forager or Nature's Accord, you'd probably glaze over any of the Herblore benefits that a transmutation would give you. If you took Soul Harvest, another good example, then that completely solves prayer for you, right? And so
Yep.
you look at the bone specking or the bone transmutation effects of that relic, and you go, well, I already have Soul Harvest, I don't have to worry about that. But without it, you look at transmutation as like another kind of solve, like, ooh, well, at least I've got this thing. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of fun, like this less efficient but more interesting set of things for me to do. But
Yeah.
it's definitely not for everybody. Like if you really just want to get that Dragon Cup, get all your points there, have some fun PVM, and then go back to the main game.
Mm-hmm.
Then that my relic selection doesn't really make sense here. I'm playing like the long haul, where I
Yeah.
probably won't get that Dragon Cup until week 5, week 6, week 7. Something later into the league, just because I've had a lot of fun with it. I've pushed it off to the side. I've started off a second account that goes a completely different direction, which we could touch on here in a minute if you were curious what I'm thinking for the second playthrough.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like my thought process. Oh, and also I should put this in there. I am like one of the 1% of weirdos that doesn't mind training agility.
Okay.
So
I
the
see.
fact that there's no agility solve in there, from my perspective, is a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely have like a double raid region, right? So that's definitely gonna take a little bit longer time just to
Oh
get
yeah.
certain items, and
Oh yeah.
especially chambers, because chambers, you don't have like guaranteed purple. The weightings have changed, which will help
Hmm.
you get those
Hmm.
items. But yeah, like things will take a little bit longer, but if those
In that same light, if I
mm-hmm,
can interject here for a second, I had this thought earlier today that I don't know if I'm really gonna benefit from any mega rare weapon. I think my end
Mm,
game ranged build is a crossbow. I think my end game melee build is an abyssal tentacle, and my end game mage build is using the shadow flame quadrant.
yeah.
So it's gonna be sad, which is weird to say. I think I'm going to be disappointed when I do a raid and I get a mega rare scroll. I think I'm
Mm.
gonna be like, oh shoot, I wish this was a piece of ancestral, or oh shoot, I wish this was a piece of Missouri armor, or I wish this was
Right.
a twisted buckler, or I wish this was a dragon hunter crossbow.
Wow,
And I
yeah.
am definitely one of the fortunate ones that has a group of friends who also really enjoys playing League. Like I've said it several times, but like my wife is a RuneScape player, and one of the things that she enjoys most in the game is raiding. And so,
Mm.
during Raging Echoes, we did a ton of duo Theater of Blood together. We did a ton of duo Tombs of Amassacre together.
Yeah.
Super, super late into the league, even after we kind of had most of the items. We didn't really need to do it anymore.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
just doing it for fun.
For fun,
And
yep.
so I'm one of the lucky ones in terms of like I definitely know that the double raid region or just any raid in general, it could take a while to get everything from there.
Mhm.
But I think I'm gonna have enough people that I can raid with to where that's not really an issue. If you're a player that's like going a little bit more solo, or you know you don't have as many friends, or you don't have friends who are taking the same regions as you,
Mhm.
raids could look a little bit daunting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we could talk about the second account, and for my second account, I'm definitely planning on going double raids. Um,
Yeah. Which raids will you take from it then?
so so I played Gridmaster a lot, and
Oh, super fun
Gridmaster,
mode.
yeah, Gridmaster was super fun, and I really enjoyed Chambers, and I was playing so much Chambers. I even was doing like solo Chambers, just like
Dude, yes.
just having fun with it. I mean, Gridmaster Power, I will say, was on a different
It was
level. Uh,
unmatched. I hope that doesn't come back to bite us this time around, that people are like, "Oh, this league doesn't
yeah.
feel as good because I've tasted
Mm-hmm.
the power of
And
Gridmaster."
Gridmaster, yeah. So I'm hoping to play Chambers quite a bit, and I'm also gonna be playing Theater of Blood. So those are my two
Heck
raid
yes.
regions that I'm going
Such a
for.
good raid in a league, man. Theater of Blood on a league when you just have busted power ups,
Mm-hmm.
they go by so quickly. With those guaranteed purple drop rates there, it just feels like loot is getting thrown at you faster than you can understand.
Yeah.
I've just realized now, because you're taking Kandarin Wilderness to Ronwen on the
Yep.
main run through, so you don't have a raid region at
At
all
all.
in your
Yeah.
main playthrough.
So
Wow, that is very interesting.
yeah, so this was the logic behind, my video where I'm like, oh, this is like easy dragon. Like if you're going for dragon, um, you're just trying to get rid of the RNG, and it's if you do want to go for the fun, you could add in a raid region like if you want.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
but for me, this is like pretty fun. Like the only region that I played a lot of is wilderness. I always pick the wilderness, and
Oh, really? Dude, that's great.
yeah, and I think a lot of people are like scared of the wilderness, but
Still, people still are. I understand it when the first Trailblazer came out, because
yeah.
like it was the first time that we had access to a league with every region, and I think Wilderness had like one of the lowest pick rates there. It might have been Fremenic that had the absolute lowest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forgetting right now, but I know it was pretty far down there.
Yep.
I think a lot of people's minds changed about it last league because of
Mm-hmm.
one single item. And class, say it together. Thunder Kopesh.
Kopesh, yeah. Of course. I think
Like,
that item was crazy. And like when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, this I think item is really good. And originally I was planning a ZCB spec build, and that was
ooh,
what I was going
yeah.
for. And I saw that the Kopesh was there, and I was like, I hope this thing turns out really good. It'll be fun. And with the
And
spec
boy, did
relic
it.
and Thunder
Boy, did it.
Kopesh, it was insane. Like I remember doing
It was
wardens.
cracked.
Yeah, I was doing wardens, and like the spec part, I was just like insta one down. Like there's no problem at all.
I have this such a vivid memory of, I think it was Dino very early on into Raging Echoes,
Hmm.
killing Jad within like 3 or 4
Yep.
attacks, he just goes up to it and just blasts it with the Kopesh, and I
Kopesh,
think
yeah.
that that was, like, one of those pivotal moments when so many people were like, "Holy cow,
Mm-hmm.
that weapon cooks."
Mm-hmm. And I
So,
really
yeah.
wish I went Tyrnwyn at that time, because with the crystal armor,
Mhm.
it was just like it was another
Ah.
level. Like, and like if you went from me on top of that, it would have been like 10 times more, like.
Dude, it was busted last league. So in Raging Echoes on my main playthrough, I did a melee focused build, which was
Mm-hmm.
so fun. I did Mauritania. Shoot, what was my second region? Why am I blanking on this? Oh, Varlamore. Yeah, that's why,
Mm.
because that's we don't have the choice this time around.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wasn't thinking of it as a possible region. I did Varlamore first on that account. Then I took Mauritania second. And initially I was going to do Fremennik. And
Okay.
then they announced the Echo items for Rage and Echoes, and I saw that Crystal Blessing. But by the way, before this, I was like, I'm never gonna take Tehran as a region. Like, I
Yeah.
don't enjoy the content there. It's super small. It's like the smallest place. You know, you've got
Yeah.
like Gauntlet and Zulra, and those are like the only pieces of PVM. Super
Mm-hmm.
boring. I'm never gonna take it. Then they announced that Crystal Blessing, and I was like, oh shoot,
Oof.
that kind
Yeah.
of looks like fun.
That looks
So I
really
got
good.
pushed into taking Tehran last time, and I had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no regrets with it. And so then this league comes around, and I said this in I think several of my videos leading up to them revealing the Echo items.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling that they were going to make it so the Crystal Blessing worked with magic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I kind of hope they don't, because it's gonna push me to do Tehran win
Tehran
again.
again,
And I
yeah.
even said it earlier in this call, right? That probably the smart choice for me is to take Tehran win
Yeah.
over Desert, because that Crystal Armor build is bonkers nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun. And so I'm a little bit sad about it, but because of that, that means that I'm just going to take Tehran win in my second playthrough on my
Yeah.
alt run. I'm leaning towards like an Asgarnia, Mauritania, Tehran build, and I think that's going to be really fun. I might go into that sort of like melee, a lot of heavy weapons, blind bag sort of build
Mm-hmm.
with the Asgarnia region. Like it could be fun to play around with that. Fang of the Hound or Hound of the Shadow, or people keep calling it different things, but the Echo Cerberus item
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah.
right?
I
So
actually
like
don't even know what it's called, but it looks pretty cool.
it looks like a lot of fun, especially with the relic that speeds up light weapons. So that thing goes down to like 2 tick. And
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to poke some pretty quick numbers with it. Um, so that's what's really nice about having the option to do a second playthrough, is like regions that look like fun, relics that look like fun, packed builds that look like fun. It gives you the freedom to do that. And again, I know that I'm a little bit fortunate in having the ability, like the time ability, to make it worthwhile to do multiple builds. You know, in
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
and I might because I've just mentioned time. Like I still have a full time job. I've still got responsibilities outside of RuneScape.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I go pretty heavy in the league. I've actually been thinking about potentially doing a third playthrough
Oh wow,
that's a
okay.
randomized playthrough this
Oh,
time.
I see, I see. Okay. That sounds
Because
pretty
boy, oh
insane.
boy, right? Like with the pact tree, just having every single pact you take be completely randomized
Oh
sounds
wow, that's
terrifying.
that's pretty insane actually.
It sounds absolutely terrifying, and because of that, so much fun. So we'll see if I get around to actually doing that. I
Mm.
know there are definitely going to be some big content creators that do a randomized build,
Yeah.
and they're going to be a blast to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just watch them, like their packed tree turn into a complete jarbled piece of nonsense that like barely gives them any power up ability, and you're like, haha. And then I'm gonna do it, and the same thing's gonna happen to me. Like if you look at the packed tree and you see all of those kind of neutral nodes that are like in between stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if your randomization just picked you all of the outskirt nodes and
Yeah.
none of the end game relics, or none of the end game pacts.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you could do like randomized keystones or capstones. I don't know what they're calling it. The end
Hmm.
nodes. That could
Yeah. So like
be a way to
that's actually
go.
a good idea. Yeah, like pick one and then have a direction to go towards.
Right. Um. Also, like these side nodes, they're not bad. Like I thought about it. Like specifically for me, like
Hmm.
I'm going Turnwin and like Echo Hunliff
Echo
is
Hunliff, man,
uh,
it uses
uh,
protection prayers.
yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but
Oh, spoilers.
yeah, if
I've
he
spoiled it.
no, I mean you didn't spoil everything. Like I think everyone knows that Hunliff uses protection prayers, but a prayer pen build could go really really strong, especially with the
Absolutely.
one tick staff within CG.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you don't
man.
have to prep for like two items. You just take your staff and you just go in. Just you don't have to worry.
I think that could be a really fun build. As I said before, I took Turanwin in Raging Echoes, and
Mhm.
again, without spoiling the fight itself, the
Yeah.
Echo Hunliff fight was the most fun Echo boss fight that I did last
Yeah.
league, and I tried. I think I tried all of them except for Cerberus and Hespori
Mhm.
throughout various playthroughs or like
Playthroughs, yeah.
yeah, seeing other people and stuff like that. So Echo Hunliff for me was the best. It was so much fun,
Mhm.
but I must admit, I did most of it with a full tier 6 combat mastery level of prayer penetration. So I was able to cheese it
Mm.
quite a bit by just focusing on using the halberd on it, and I think I would have struggled a little bit more if I was actually having to do the fight properly, which is like switching weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to your point, I think adding some of that prayer penetration into a build that is going to be going to Ronwin, or we can throw the Echo Dagonoth Kings in there as well. I think they had some sort of prayer overhead that they used, and
Mhm.
so the ability to kind of brute force that fight a little bit could be really, really useful.
Yeah, yeah. So last time on my second account, I took Turnwin, and I didn't get to play as much on that second account, but I really, really love CG. Like back in the day, I used to love like dungeoneering, and CG is basically like dungeoneering. And the thing is, like, I don't know, like some of the what's it called, like strategies of
Hmm.
what is like to do, and like the way I like to play it, I like to just go in blind. And what I was doing, I was talking to another guest about this, is like when I was playing CG, I would just take the scepter that you start from the beginning, and I would
Yeah.
just run at the bosses and try to just beat them with it because I was a melee build, and that's how I'd get my weapon frame. And people are like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Why don't you kill the little guys for the
yeah,
weapon frame? You're
and I
like,
was
what?
like, and I was
What are you
like,
talking
it's
about?
like, why should I do that? I could just get a weapon frame right away,
That
and
is great.
and it was viable, right? Like I was still doing, I was getting my prep phase done. I was able to go in, and I was like fine with it. And of course, the echo fight was really hard. I didn't get to
Hmm.
do as much, but I was like, I really want to do that again, and I think it'll be really fun. So Tyrnwin um, was a top pick for me this time.
Yeah, must have just from the fun perspective. And then also you do get the benefits of that region. Like as much as I didn't want to take it, before Raging Echoes, and as much as I think I used to dog on it, now I'm like Tyrannid has some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zulcano has a ton of resources. The Zulra drops, especially now that they drop as full items, right? You'll get that Trident of the Swamp. The Blowpipe is still really good everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like Serpentine Helm, still really good. There's good skilling content in Turnwind, especially if you're taking Larcenist. Like, I've said this several times, but if anybody has not seen the crystal tool or custom item smithing and crafting method in a league, it will blow your mind. You're getting
Oh
like
yeah.
50 million crafting and smithing XP per hour,
Mm-hmm.
really, really easily. So like,
Yeah.
Tyrannid's a good region.
Yeah, the Larcenist combo is really good. And since I was talking about like my early build being the throne build, I believe the blowpipe is supposed to be
Oh yeah,
considered like a thrown weapon. So
it is. Yes, yes, yes.
um it could be a very good utility for my region.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for some of that early content, getting that this extra damage bonus, the extra accuracy bonus,
Mm-hmm.
even for things like we're talking about how we're gonna have to train Slayer to a pretty high level.
Yeah.
So that Tenal Sticks relic or pact at the very end that allows you to shoot multiple targets I think is actually going to be pretty powerful for
Pretty
some of that
powerful,
early
yeah.
game stuff, right? Yeah,
So,
some of those like multi-combat slayer tasks.
yeah, and that was kind of like my plan with like the chins was
Mhm.
double up on the chins, just throw two of them, and like the more I thought about it, and it was like one of the main reasons why I am going back to woodsman instead of hotfoot. It's just so I could get
Right.
double chins. I could get my hunter grind like much easier.
Mhm.
I could also get sun like
Mhm.
a hunter crossbow. um it just seems like this is the way I want to go, and we kind of talked about it earlier with like different things to do and like pushing combat a little bit later. One of the other things that I plan on doing is I actually plan on pushing back a Moxie as well. Um
Really?
and
Okay.
and
I think that's
go
fair.
Yeah, and going for maybe like Echo KBD first, and
Mhm.
then going into like the Slayer grind, and um we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, because this is super interesting because you said that your end game goal is an airbender build, right? And here you have
Mhm.
like a totally ranged based start, which
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
Yeah, because again, like I want to go for the Echo KBD, and then get the crossbow, get my range up as high as possible. I want to make getting to dragon as easy as possible. So if I could
Definitely.
use chins as a way to just like absolutely power up my range, um, that's ideal. And
Yeah, definitely. Like, because it's such good like XP per hour. I
mhm,
mean, you're taking Kandarin first, so like you've got monkey tunnels just looking at you right
yes,
there. Like the
exactly.
XP per hour there is gonna be bonkers.
Insane. So and like the other thing I was thinking about was, because I'm gonna be chinning a lot, and I just don't know how much I'm gonna do it towards the end. I was also thinking for my tier 8. You talked about too where you were struggling with your choice. Like I was thinking about
Mhm.
going minion.
Still am.
So it could just auto loot everything for me. I don't have to worry about looting. Uh,
Dude, Minion, I feel like every single hour I flip back and forth between Flask of Fervor and Minion
mm-hmm,
because the Minion relic this time is absolutely cracked. I took Guardian in Trailblazer Reloaded, and I thought it was really good. I
mm,
think they made it even better in Raging Echoes, but like I said earlier, I took Last Stand there just because I wanted the safety net. This time around, like the minion. It,
yeah.
it does so much damage. It has that passive ability to help pick your loot up. Like, it's a solid choice for pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I
I still don't know what I'm gonna pick.
exactly. That's the thing is like there's so many use cases. Well, not so many, but like Flask also just seems like fun, and
hmm
it does say 3 minute on it, but I believe, you can get this lower for sure. And if you
Yeah,
could get it
definitely.
somewhere around like a minute 30, I think it's going to be super strong. And if you have like very good, so like for my second build, I'm thinking about going as Garnia,
hmm
Zaya, and Mauritania.
Heck
And
yeah.
the plan is to use that Serb dagger and go like a spec build. um
Yeah, with Dragon Claws is kind of like the end game goal.
yeah, Dragon Claws is the end game goal, the Serb.
Yep.
You also have the ZCB again, and
Yep.
with Flask,
Ooh, I see where you're going
you
with
know,
this.
there's a lot of potential on what we can do here.
Yeah,
Um,
because if you're recharging that flask by using special attacks, and then every time you use the flask, it
mhm,
gives you full spec back, you just dive straight back into it and start recharging it again.
yeah, and also one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, with your light weapon, whenever you hit with the light weapon, one of the nodes here on this demonic pact is you attack twice, basically. Um,
Yes.
and I wonder if that scales with this capstone or keystone or whatever you would call it, where it says each hit gives
Ooh.
you 2% spec. And if that gives me 4%, and I'm hitting a one tick or two tick
Yeah,
dagger.
two tick Serb dagger. Ooh, that is really, really interesting.
it
I feel
could
like
be
that's going to be one of
crazy.
those things that we won't know until we're actually in the league, or we get a lucky Mod Husky clarification there.
Yeah, or like someone
But
does it.
yeah,
Like
cool.
um and that's also one of the reasons why, like earlier I said about like the respecs being a little too low. It's we really don't know. It's just some
Yeah,
people they had a little bit time with it, like the three people on the video today, they got to play
yep.
around with the build, but even they didn't get to play for that long. And
Hmm.
so though they went with whatever they theory craft, but I mean there's, you know, so many nodes to look at and so many different things to try out.
Yeah, and just the potential that like one of these end game builds is going to have some little nuance to it that makes it not as good as it could have been.
Hmm.
And then you look at your whole pack tree and you're like, oh shoot, well, if I had known that that wasn't the case, I would have gone down to a different build. And so, it's nice that they give some freedom to reset there. But yeah,
Yeah.
I personally, I would not be surprised if like midway through the league we get some sort of update, we get an extra reset, or we
Yeah.
get some system where like, okay, well, if you gain 200 million experience, then you'll get another respec, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, something similar. I know you said earlier that you didn't play the Shattered Relics League, but
Hmm.
that was something that happened during that league pretty early on, that people looked at how many points it was going to take to like unlock everything, and they're like, wow, this is like way too overblown. And so like I feel like it was a couple days into the league, Jagex was like, yeah, maybe we made all these things too expensive, we're going to drop the price of like all these unlocks down.
Yeah.
It's possible that we see something like that here in this league once everybody starts to get their hands on it, and Jagex kind of sees like, oh, maybe it seems like we weren't as generous with these. Maybe the fourth Echo Boss will actually give a respec after all. Maybe that's how they'll do it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe they'll give like a free respec just from the get go, because some people might not even get to a Moxie to get the first, respec.
Yeah, a get out of jail free card, or like a
Yeah,
no, more like a break in case of emergency
yeah,
respec.
and a lot. This goes into like the mindset of a lot of people who are like super excited are in like the Discord and whatnot, but I would say majority of the players are not even in the Discord. They're
Oh
literally
yeah.
just looking at Twitter,
Yep.
um and they're just going off of that, and they can easily get stuck. Like they're not planning
Yeah.
anything, they're just ready to just go in and experience it.
It's one of the main reasons that in most of my daily reveal videos, I try to include screenshots and discussion that come from the league's Discord, because I
Mhm.
know there are a lot of people that aren't in there. There's a lot of information flowing through that place, so it's
Mhm.
really easy to miss something.
Yeah.
And I've had several of my fans, talk to me and say, "Hey, I really appreciate that you like, discuss the posts that Mod Husky's making, because that really changed my mind about this specific thing, or it gave me more information about this relic or this pact, or this
Yeah.
particular task." And so there's when you have something as complicated as a RuneScape league,
Yeah.
there are going to be things that get messed. There are people who are going to make mistakes, and they're going to be upset about it. And some people would look at them and be like, well, if you just planned better, if you paid more attention. But then
Mhm.
there is also the like, well, there's so much information, it's impossible to know everything. Like I don't know everything about the league,
Yeah, of
even though
course.
I've basically been living and breathing this stuff for the past like almost 3 weeks,
Yeah.
because I got so excited about it. So I think if there's anything that I would like leave as sort of my closing thought, my end of the dissertation sort of thing, it's just like at the end of the day, leagues are supposed to be fun. So
Mhm.
I never try too hard to like think about what's the meta play, is this relic going to be 2% better than this thing, like and I guess I should preface that point as well. I'm going down all kinds of rabbit holes here, but like everybody has a different idea of fun. One
Right.
person's idea of
For
fun
sure.
may be rushing a dragon trophy. One person's idea of fun might be not caring about the dragon trophy at all and just
Mhm.
going into fun PVM encounters. One person's idea of fun might be going in completely blind and just making it up. And so it's important to realize that like everybody has a different idea of what's going to be enjoyable this league. And I think the most important thing you could do for yourself as a player is to identify what you want to do for fun and just try to build around that. It doesn't matter if it's the meta play, it doesn't matter if, you know, you're taking regions that don't synergize well with each other. It doesn't matter if you like make a mistake on your demonic pact tree. Like just try to do something that looks like fun, and I think you'll have a good time, and that'll be way better than like overthinking it, overstressing it, getting angry that something's worded a specific way or that some interaction doesn't happen. Like I think there's plenty of opportunity for every type of player to have a good time during the league, and at the end of the day, for me, that's the most important part.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I saw some crazy things on the Discord too, like level 3 skiller build. Like like people really love doing that, and
Yeah.
it's something that I was never interested in, but it just the fact that you can do it, fact that people want to go for it, like fact, like what's his name? I think there's like one of the content creators. His name, I think it's like JCW or something like that,
Yes, yes, yes. Yep.
and he
Or
goes.
JCB, those
Oh
for
yeah, I
those
saw that.
Dead Men All Stars enthusiasts.
Yeah, that's the thing about like RuneScape. This is like a second thought, but a lot of times, like I may not play it all the time, but there's something about like the content creators in RuneScape that are just makes me want to like watch like RuneScape content, and
Oh, 100%. We are so lucky to
yeah,
have the content creator scene that we do because you've got all different flavors of people doing
mm-hmm,
all kinds of different things. You know what I mean? You've got your ultimate Ironmans, you've got your group Ironmans, you've got your hardcores, you've
yeah,
got your region locked, you've got your chunk men accounts, you've got
yeah,
your weird snowflake things here and there. Speaking of weird meme builds, I you made me think of the one that came to my mind because a couple of days ago,
mm-hmm.
Husky said that uh, bare-handed attacks count as a melee
Oh, I
weapon
saw
under
that.
1 kilogram.
I saw
And I
that.
just so want someone to do a bare-handed playthrough where
Mm-hmm,
you just take as many relics in this and you're like, I'm never gonna equip any weapon. I'm gonna
mm-hmm,
see how many bosses I can just punch with my bare hands. And you try to like take all of these like, you know, +1 melee damage things or like you know, anything that's like
mm-hmm.
the weapon speed up would technically work for barehanded. So
Yeah.
like if somebody doesn't do that by the end of the league, then I'm gonna do it because it just sounds too funny.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I looked at it when he said that. I was like, wait, hold up. Let me take a look. I
How
immediately started,
viable is it?
yeah, I started looking all around the tree, and I was like, I don't think it's like fully built for it. I bet you could do it if you really want to.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's totally a meme build. Like
y-
it's 100%.
yeah, but it made me like super interested because there is a concept of this in PoE as well. It's
Yeah.
called like hollow palm, which is you don't have any weapons and you're just straight up fists, just punching everything.
Yeah, you
Um,
and your fists against the world.
and that could be so cool if you can, figure out a way to add that into RuneScape, because that would be a completely different experience.
Yeah, man. There's some interesting interactions with the barbarian gathering
Hmm.
relic when it comes to barehanded attacks. Like, since your bare hands count as a crystal pickaxe, you know that's going to work against guardians in the chambers of Zarek. It's going to work against the Path of Het in Tombs of Amasket. So
Hmm.
that could also like play into the idea of like a barehanded build. Yeah, it sounds like a difficult challenge because like there's going to be a lot of content that just doing barehanded, it's going to be pretty tough. But I think it would be fun. I really hope that somebody does it because I want to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Seems pretty interesting. I just wanted to quickly also talk about like today's reveal, and
Oh yeah.
we actually got a task list finally.
Yes, we did.
Some people excited. Some people are like, they're waiting for so long to get this. but we finally got it. Have you taken a look at it and have you had any
Not as
thoughts?
deep of a look as I wish that I had. A
Okay.
lot of my theory crafting today went into really nailing down my packed tree.
Okay.
And so actually that was one of the things that I was going to do as soon as we were done with this call was like scroll down the list. I know that
Mm.
they released this in a few different like sections. Initially, they
Mm-hmm.
released the easy and medium sets for Varlama, the general regions, and Karumja. And then I think later on, they released all of the general tasks because they wanted help with people looking at them and making sure that they were all viable in every single region because there were a couple that were like, oh, well, technically you can't do this with every region combo, so we should probably take that out of the global, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's a lot of tasks to look through here. I think, in fact, when I recorded my video earlier today, there were just a few under 400 tasks listed here, and I've just refreshed the page, and it's now showing
Yeah.
630 tasks
Yeah,
or
yeah.
thereabouts. So there's
Y-
a lot of info to go in here.
yeah, there's so much, and actually I spend a lot of time looking at this. I do plan on making some sort of route. Um
Ooh, heck yes, I will be a connoisseur of that.
okay, yeah, nice. I did this last time as well. The only tricky part for me this time is trying to find everything in Varlamore. Like I want my
Hmm.
info to be like a very like precise and correct. So I've been like going everywhere, just looking at all the small things, and I'm just like, what is this? Like there's one about like some secret entrance, and I still don't know what the secret entrance is.
That's
Like,
my favorite thing. I remember in Raging Echoes when they released the global task list, there
do
were
you know
a
where it is?
few there. Hold on. Which let me do a control F secret
Okay,
entrance in here.
this is
Yeah,
I have it pulled up.
there
uh
was one task in the last league that was like chop a potato tree. And when
okay.
when
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
released,
yeah.
everyone was like, "What the heck is a potato tree?"
Yeah, yeah.
Here we go. Enter Civitas via the secret
It
passage.
literally says secret
What?
passage. I have
I
no
don't know what
idea.
this is.
I don't even
Is
know
it
where
like
to
an
look.
agility shortcut somewhere? Like
I
that.
have no idea. I was looking at all the maps, trying to figure out where it could be. I've been like running around Varlamore, just I don't know where it is. Just simply.
I love stuff like this. I'd love it when they put tasks in here that make you scratch your head or make you go. There's another one in here as well that's like sit near a stolen cabbage.
Yeah, I don't know what that
And
is.
it looks like there's a link to what the stolen cabbage is
Okay,
now.
okay,
But
let's see.
earlier today, that link wasn't in there. And so people were like, what is a stolen cabbage? Is
Oh,
there
I see
something
where it
about the
is.
broccoli dog in here? Because if not, then like, well, let me look up broccoli. No, there's nothing in here about the broccoli dog. There's a dog in
Oh, this guy
on the
looks like he has a
west end of
broccoli.
Barlamore. No, 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 it's
Okay,
not
it's
that one.
not
It's
that
like
one.
what if I can look up broccoli dog on this?
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
based off of somebody's real life pet.
Mm-hmm.
Broccoli dog. Nope, apparently I don't know how to spell broccoli. Okay, I
I'm
know the
struggling to.
town that it's in. I know the town that it's in. We're doing some live wiki trawling right here. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Civitas, Hailstorm Mountains, Alderin. It's in the rainforest. Tiltekla. No, it's not that one. It's Kastori. That's the one. There is
Okay.
a dog in Kastori that is holding a piece of broccoli in its mouth. And that is a
Ziggy.
reference. Is it Ziggy? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I found it.
Ziggy, my favorite dog in Varlamore. It's based off of somebody's real life pet.
Mm.
That like one of the J mods implemented in here, and I think it has a pet option on it. Um,
Oh, I
so
see
like
it.
I was hoping there would be a task
Maybe
involving
Ziggy's
this
in
guy.
there.
It
Let
doesn't
me try and
look
look
like
up
it is.
Ziggy. Oh yeah, Ziggy's not in there.
Maybe we'll see. Again, that if you asked earlier, like, have I looked at the task list? What am
Mm-hmm.
I gonna do? That's the main thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look for Ziggy
Ziggy.
references.
I don't think I
Yeah.
saw any, but the main thing actually has been like Varlamore stuff. It's actually there's actually two things in Varlamore. it's a lot of the tasks kind of just like go somewhere and do something.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
doesn't really have like a skill requirement besides a ton of hunter tasks. Um,
Heck yeah, man. Woodsman takers rejoice.
exactly. Woodsman's like stocks are like super far up. Same thing with like fletching with like veil totems and whatnot. And then of course you
Yeah.
have like thieving with valuables, but it's like 50 thieving to even do them. So it's like they're not
Yep.
really in um I mean you don't even have larcenous until later. So
Yeah.
uh
So like doing some of those tasks, maybe just the old-fashioned way is going to be good. I want to
yeah.
throw one out here as
Okay.
a little nugget of truth, a little a little snaplocket tip here that all your viewers get to enjoy,
Okay.
and it goes into like the hunter enthusiast thing. Last league in Raging Echoes, there
Mhm.
was a task in Varlamore to equip a oh shoot, I've forgotten what they're called now. It's the highest tier salamander. What are they called? A
Oh,
Teku
Taku?
salamander?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Teku salamander. If there's any reason that I picked what was the fishing relic in Raging Echoes? It was
Oh,
the tier
Wrangler.
1 Animal Wrangler,
Yep.
yes. If there was any main reason that I picked Animal Wrangler in Raging Echoes, it was because I wanted to rush Hunter as soon as possible to catch a freaking Teku salamander
Mhm.
before the mob gets there. Because I don't know if you've ever hunted Teku salamanders before.
Mhm.
There is one location to do it in the entire region of Varlamore, and there exist, I think, 5 spots to set up a trap there. And net traps, super fun fact here for hunter enthusiasts. Net traps can only allow one person to set up a trap there per world. So you are looking at one spot to hunt Teku
Oh
salamanders
no.
on every single world. And there are going to be thousands of people. And I was worried about this last league when
Mhm.
Varlamore was an optional pick. This league, we all start there.
Yeah.
So, and this thing is not easy to get. It's not like catching a black salamander where you like run up to it, you grab one, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Its base rate is 1 in 1,000. So even when you're at a
Oof.
5x multiplier, you're still catching like on average 200 of these things to get the salamander.
I
So
hope it's
you
not a
can
task.
better believe it might not be. Maybe Jagex will grace us, and I'll wake up Wednesday morning. I promise you, the
Mhm.
first thing I do when they release the full task list to me, I'm gonna refresh the task page. I'm gonna hit Control F on my keyboard, and I'm gonna type the word Teku in there. And if it comes up with a hit, I'm gonna start sweating. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't come up with a hit, I'm gonna breathe a sigh of relief, and I
Mhm.
might forego my early game hunter rush.
Mm.
Because yeah, basically like I think you've got 2 options with the Teku Salamander. You either go for it and rush Hunter, which by the way, it was a 200-point task in the last league. It wasn't some
Yeah, of
medium
course.
task, it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
something. It was an elite level task. So it was like something you kind of wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your 2 options like either rush Hunter and try to get to that Teku boy, or maybe ignore it completely. If you're going to
Yeah.
play the league for a long time, maybe you'll be able to find a spot, like 4 or 5 weeks into it. Maybe I'm being super pessimistic
Mhm.
here, but I think there's going to be a time during the first like week, 2 week, 3 week period of time where it is going to be impossible to catch those
Catch
Teku
one, yeah.
salamanders. The same thing happened in the Shattered Relics League. There were a lot of points in Hunter, and they had to do with Chinchampas. There
Mhm.
was like one task to equip 1,000 Chinchampas
Mhm.
in your hand at one time. And there were a couple other below. There was one for like 500, one for like 250, if I'm remembering correctly. And so
Yeah.
a lot of people, my one of my best friends included, had the smart idea to rush Hunter because you got a lot of points through it. And then
Yeah.
the rest of us who didn't have that original thought of it a day later and was like, "Oh, that looks like a lot of points." And then you could not find a Chinchompa spot in any world, and so it
Mm.
sucked.
Yeah, so
So ever since then, I've been terrified of the Hunter skill in a league.
yeah, I remember Chinchampa was like a big deal, but since I had like the wilderness, I was fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a big thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think So when I looked at some of these tasks, and some of them are pretty interesting and new. Um, so like the one big one that I saw was, they talked about the 50 million, the 100 million, and 200
Oh
million
yeah,
tasks, but
yeah.
there's actually another one that they kind of
Ooh, really?
snuck in here that is, yeah, that
Ooh,
is.
let me know what's going on. Give me some insider information here.
So there's one that's obtained 50 million XP in three non-combat skills. So you have to get three
What?
different skills to 50 million EXP that is not like attack, strength, defense, magic ranged, or hit points. And it's
Ooh,
400
okay, okay.
points.
Hot dang, man.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. And then of course they have another one for 35 million, which is 200 points each, and then they have another one for 25 million, which is 5 non-combat for another 200 each. Um
Oh,
so they're
so they've
getting you.
grouped some of these together?
Yeah, so they're trying to get you to push past, 99s on some of your non-combat skills here.
Wow. Well, that really gives a lot of extra benefit to some of these relics. Like
Mhm.
one of the biggest critiques we've been talking about a lot today, but the Woodsman relic. One of the biggest critiques with the Woodsman relic is people say it doesn't solve any skills that you didn't already have solved.
Yeah.
Right? In Varlamar, you've got Veil Totems, which is a pretty good fletching training activity.
Yeah.
You've already got Hunter tasks, so you're going to be gaining Hunter experience there.
Yeah.
Fire making's kind of a moot point in a lot of things, especially if you're a Zaya picker like I am. Like
Mhm.
you've got Winter Tot right there. And so a lot of people would probably, again, look at my relic selection and be like, why the heck are you picking Woodsman? All of the skills that it solves, you've already got to solve for. But I was kind of thinking about something like this. Like, Woodsman, especially once you get to flow state and a lot of these actions become really, really quick,
Mhm.
that becomes really easy skills that you can get up to 25 mil, that you can get up to 35 mil, that you can get up to 50 mil. Like I think fletching has a good chance to be the non-combat skill that I get up to 200 mil
200,
because
yeah.
with Woodsman and with flow state and with the fletching knife, it's going to be so dang easy to do, especially with the transmutation relic where I can make every single log I get into a super high tier log pretty easily.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to think about these 200 mil tasks, and of course, getting them early. And if it's easy to get them early,
Hmm.
it really
Hmm.
helps you snowball.
A lot of people think about those tasks as like, oh, the 200 mil, I'm gonna get that, as like one of my last tasks.
Mhm.
But it's possible if you take certain relic combinations, maybe it makes sense to go for like 35 mil fletching right
Mhm.
off the bat. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then just steamroll yourself into some of those higher relic tiers really early on. So I think both you and I were talking about it. I think the skilling first strategy this league is super, super viable and
Mhm.
maybe a better way to do it than a combat first league. But
Yeah.
again, it depends on your playstyle. Like, we're talking about these 200 mil skills, these 300 mil. There are going to be a lot of people that are like, dude, I don't care. I just want to do some busted league combat.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to get, up to tier 8 relics so I can get a really powerful combat relic. I want to get like, 30 to 35 packed points. And that's my goal. And like,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then, all power to you. I think that's awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Um Another thing I actually want to bring up was, I don't know if you saw this, but in order to unlock Karamja, you need to get 80 tasks done.
Yes, yes. The eagle-eyed people who looked at the Demonic Pact blog saw a little sneak peek in there. There's a single screenshot that
Trying to
shows
find it again.
yeah, it's here, let me send you. Actually, I can just send you the image. No, but maybe it makes more sense to send you the blog.
Yeah.
It's a little bit down in the overview section, and it does show the league. What do you call it? The league like tab. Kind of in your inventory setup, and it
Mm-hmm.
says 78 tasks until Karamja with 2 tasks completed.
Yep.
Oh, it's the other
Oh,
blog.
the other
This is
blog
like
post. Okay, okay.
the main one, and then they released another blog that was just focused on pacts. I shot you a link in our
Okay, you did.
Discord
Okay,
conversation if you wanted to
perfect,
take a peek
perfect.
at that. Because yeah, it might be worthwhile to show on here. I'm so happy, by the way, while we're on this topic, I'm so happy that Karumja isn't unlocked from the get-go.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that
mhm,
take as well.
mhm.
Just
It's
because,
such a good decision to make. It's so good.
yeah,
Did I send you the wrong one? Hold on.
I mean, I got it right here. I have the picture up, but yeah, I agree because I think a lot of the times, I just remembered. There's like two things when I think about leagues. Is I remember my first time playing on Zaya and just being stuck on that island, but being able to do so much.
Yeah,
Um,
right? You're kind of forced to do things a different way, and that's
yeah,
kind of fun.
yeah, and then all the other leagues when we started in Misthalin, like it's fun for sure, but Karamja really helps you out like quite a bit. And because Karamja helps you out quite a bit, you actually get to your first region like super fast. And you just start snowballing regions and you start snowballing tasks. And
Mhm.
I think this is a very clever way to kind of slow down your pace a little bit. Um,
Yeah, get you to enjoy that starting region a bit more, get you,
yeah,
give
exactly.
you some of that excitement of maybe being in the dark a little bit, right? Trying to explore a new area, do new things in that area.
Hmm.
I think it's a great decision from Jagex this league.
Yeah, and it'll definitely not be anything like too crazy. Like we're not gonna stay in Varlamore like that much longer, but just the
Yeah, I
fact to
think it's
kind of
gonna be
enjoy it.
very doable to get out of there pretty quickly.
Y-
In fact, like, as we're talking about the task lists and reveals, can you already see, like, oh, getting these 80 tasks completed is gonna be pretty doable within, like, an hour or 2?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean this can be a flashbang, but I already started going through like my order, trying to figure out. But it's the main things I'm trying to work out are just the locations of Varlamar. That's like my only thing. But for most of it,
Yep.
the way I'm going about it is just simply kind of chunking skills together and
Mhm.
like
I think that's a good thing to do, yeah.
yeah, like for example, just like wood cutting, fletching, and fire making are all like
Yep.
one chunk, um, and try to like combo those tasks together, so to speak.
Yeah. Talking about Varlamore and Woodsman Relic, one of the overlooked benefits of that is unlimited Quetzal whistle charges.
Oh
So, like,
yeah.
that's going to make getting around Varlamore, even at the beginning when you don't have all of the Quetzal landing stations built,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to provide a pretty good amount of transportation in that area in the early game. Tier 2 is usually unlocked very quickly.
Uh,
So, like, yeah, should help out with some of those early game stuff.
yeah, I actually wonder how difficult is it to build those landing areas?
It's not difficult at all. The one resource that you need is the Quetzal feed, which you can only get from doing hunter rumors.
Gotcha.
So, another benefit of the Woodsman Relic, I feel like I'm a salesman,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
someone into like buying a specific model of car.
I mean,
But
you
another
did.
benefit of the Woodsman Relic is that you get double loot from hunter rumor sacks.
Yeah, and it gets to be banked, which is pretty insane too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you've been doing a pretty good job because I've been on the fence about my tier two between Hotfoot and
I finally
Woodsman.
sold you on Woodsman. I've
Y-
converted another one.
Yeah, it just seems
Now,
it.
okay, what's really funny about me talking up Woodsman so much is that I am actively shooting myself in the foot because
Mhm.
the more people that take Woodsman, the more people I'm gonna have to compete with for
Yeah,
hunter spots.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
should be trying to convince people not to take Woodsman. And
Mhm.
yet here I am being like, well, you get this, you get this, you get this. Yeah, that tier 2 category, I really don't think there's a bad pick in there.
Mm.
I think they're all pretty solid.
Can you start this from level one, or do you have to go to
No,
bird snare?
you have to. You cannot access the Hunters Guild until I believe it's 46 Hunter.
Yeah, I
Let me
see.
confirm that.
Yeah, I just have the
Right?
wiki up. It says that unlocked at
Yep,
46 Hunter.
46 hunter not boostable, and that is when you can do your first hunter task.
Gotcha.
So the early game hunter route, I think it's gonna honestly, I think it's gonna stump some people. And I think some people are gonna push hunter off until
Mm-hmm.
they unlock a second region that has, like the Kandarin region has a lot of level one options there, or I saw some people saying that they might just wait until they unlock Karamja and use the Karamja Diary lamp on the hunter skill.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, and again, I'm shooting myself in the foot here because there's going to be competition here. But they have added bird snares to the general store in Civita Ila Fortis, and
Mm-hmm.
so they also have birds that you can catch from level 1, or if you take abundance and you start at level 11 hunter, or is it 10? I'm forgetting what that one is. The boost is plus 10. So you'll start at level 11 hunter. There is a bird outside of Auburn Vale that you can catch at level 9.
Mm.
So the early game hunter is possible there. Also, just today, Mod Husky said that bird respawn rate uh, will be much higher. And in fact, I'm just looking at this quote now. He has increased the number of birds that spawn in these areas. I think in the main game there are 5 spawns for the level 1 bird. Husky says that the game, as best as it can, is going to try to always have 8 birds active at a time.
Oh
So
wow.
that
Okay.
should help with that early crowding situation. But this will be my second snap locket hunter tip for you. And again, I say it, I keep saying it. I'm shooting myself in the foot. Look at that bottom task that you have that you had are on the screen in the global area that
Mm-hmm.
mentions a butterfly. I think I'm a few seconds behind your stream, but I can see it on right
Yeah.
now. There's a task on there to catch a butterfly. Hmm, butterflies. What an interesting potential hunter training method. If
Mm-hmm.
only I could get a butterfly net. Aha, guess what? You can. In Puro Puro, in the Imtatious Implings minigame, whatever it's called over there,
Mm-hmm.
you can talk to, I think it's the gnome in there, and he
Yeah.
will give you like a starter set of impling catching materials, which includes
Yeah.
10 impling jars, and aha, a butterfly net.
Yeah.
And I have confirmed this in the main game. You can catch butterflies without a butterfly jar, and it will take the net level into account. So normally, if you barehand a butterfly, you have to be 10 levels higher than catching it with a net. It's the same for
Mm.
implants. But even if you don't have the jar and you have the net, you can catch the butterflies at the lower level. You just won't get to keep them.
Mm.
Now,
Okay.
butterflies are, in my opinion, a vastly superior hunter training method when compared to almost anything else. For a
Oh
league
really? Okay.
specifically, yes, there's a couple reasons for this. One, they respawn incredibly quick. In a league, it's like
Mm.
less than a second and they respawn. So you can catch them very, very quickly. But number two, they are not a competitive resource. If multiple people click on a butterfly on the same tick, both, like all of the people who click on it will catch it. It's not like one person gets it and one person doesn't. So you can have 1,000 people all crowded around the same butterfly spawn and everybody can benefit from it. So,
Mm.
your
Gotcha.
goal, if you are rushing hunter, your goal is to log into that game, to buy a bird snare and book your freaking hiney over to those birds before the crowd gets there and get to level 15 hunter.
Mm.
Because at level 15 hunter, you can catch ruby harvest, which is the lowest tier of butterfly. And there's a whole bunch of spawns in Auburnvale. And once you have that, you don't have to worry about the early hunter game being crowded. I think I'm probably too worried about it, given what Husky's saying about there being a lot of birds and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as I am making it out to be. But in my opinion, that is the hunter rush strategy. Get to butterflies, catch those ruby harvests, and then there are some higher tier butterflies on I forget the name of it, but there's like a mountain pass in between kind of the main section of Varlamore and the rainforest section. And there are sapphire glacials up there and also snowy nights.
Mm,
And so those are like a higher level than the Ruby Harvest, which just means, more XP per hour.
mm.
And
Okay.
so you can switch over to that. And this is exactly what I did in Raging Echoes when I did my Hunter Rush. Was
I
granted it was a
see.
little bit different there because we had the Varrock Museum, and so I used that to kickstart the Hunter level. This time around, we're just gonna have to do it by hand. But I
Mm-hmm.
went butterflies, and I ended up doing that for quite a while. It was very very quick. And then I started into some more, traditional hunter methods. I think I switched over to chin chompas once I
Mm-hmm.
could catch them. And yeah, I had a really, really good time. If you can't tell, I am
Okay.
a little bit excited about doing this
I'm
hunter
writing this
rush.
down. I'm writing this down. um.
Yeah, look at that. You can see it on the map right there. It shows I think there's six, no, wait, yeah, I can't count. There's six bird spawns there. So Husky
Yeah.
says that there's going to be eight, unless
8.
he's talking about the other birds that are outside of Auburnvale. I kind of forget, but yeah, that's the resource. That's the initial bottleneck. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, if I remember my calculations correct, with the first tier relic XP modifier, you only need to catch like like a dozen birds to get up to level
Yeah.
15. So, like, it's really not that big of a deal. Again, I'm probably way overthinking it and panicking about it way too much. But just in case there does happen to be, a bird crowding issue and you heard this and you did the bird rush, then you can go over there and you can laugh at all of those people when there's like 100 people trying to catch the same 8 birds. And like, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like if I do end up taking woodsman, right? I figured like my plan was to somehow get tier 2 before doing any hunter. Uh
Yes, same.
just
Well,
to make it
except
easier.
yeah, if I could, I would suggest getting yourself up to 15 hunters so you can catch butterflies, then go get the tier 2 relic for woodsman.
I see.
Because I really am worried that by the time you get that tier 2 relic and you come back to the birds, that too many people will have figured it out.
Be
Again,
there.
I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but at least that's my strategy.
But
I'm
do you
just gonna
think
go there since oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, do you think I would be able to beat them with the woodsman relic? Cuz like isn't it like attracting them to my
Ooh,
snare?
maybe. But here's
Let
the
me
thing.
read it.
What
Yeah.
if there's 100 other people that had that same exact idea and they also got the woodsman
I'm
relic?
just gonna beat them. Just- I'm just gonna
I
be
would have a
first.
better pitch than them.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
be
no. I
faster.
think it's totally, totally fair.
Uh,
Definitely before you do too much in the hunter rush,
yeah, yeah.
get uh get the woodsman relic because you get the like guaranteed catch rate, which is really, really good for butterflies, by
Mm-hmm.
the way. Because failing those things and having to run all over the place with them is not fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, the instant catch there, and then it's just gonna be good once you start getting up to like box trap stuff. Any of your pitfall traps or talking about lizards like we did earlier. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
worth it. Maybe what we can do is I will go the bird rush route and you will go the woodsman first, then birds route, and then when the day comes, let's compare our
Compare,
answers
yeah, yeah.
together and see who came out on top. Maybe I'll be like, "Ha, I beat you," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, I went there with woodsman and it wasn't a problem anyways." And I'm like, "Well, I should have done that then."
Yeah, we'll message each other like, all right, I
Yes,
got him. I
please.
got 6 birds. Like, I'm out. I'm out.
I got my level 15. I got
Yeah.
it. And then also as like a final thing there, if you take abundance, you start at a boosted hunter level right off
Yeah,
the bat. And
that's
so
true.
those abundance takers are going to be laughing at us that are catching the level 1 bird
Oh,
because they
yeah.
just go straight to the level 9 bird and
Yep.
they have a great time. So yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I am so excited for this league to happen. And like I said at the beginning, I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping over the next couple of days. But
Mm-hmm.
boy, oh boy, am I so excited for it to almost be here.
Yeah, it's there's so much to think about. Like these last couple of days, like it was like building up to it, and then all of a sudden, it hasn't really changed a lot. Like there hasn't been like any like
Hmm.
executioner acts,
Hmm.
the sustenance one. a relic, they haven't really like swayed me that much. And then all we were waiting for was a task list, and we got it today.
Yep.
And like after getting it, I don't know why, but like it just imploded my brain. Like I don't even know what to like do anymore for some
Because now it's
reason.
real, man.
Yeah,
Before you were like, "Well, I'll wait for this piece. I'll wait for this piece." Today you're
yeah,
like, "I'll wait for oh shoot, there's nothing else to wait for."
exactly.
Like it's go time. You have all the information now. So like
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have a plan in the next what is it, probably like 36 hours, then
Yeah.
oh, it's gonna look a little scary. But yeah, no, go into this league with like not too much planning, a lot of planning, whatever your mindset is, just go in and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's like probably the best place to leave it. I'm gonna push myself. I need to go start prepping some dinner things before my wife gets home, and so this is gonna be it for me tonight. But dude, this was so much fun
Oh
to
yeah.
just chat about this stuff, and please keep messaging me like as we go through this because I want to know how your plan is going. I want to know how your picks are feeling. We'll compare bird answers when it comes down to it. And yeah, this is like again, I'm just so excited for this league. So
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for giving me this outlet and this opportunity to just talk because I love talking about it and I love getting excited about it. And yeah,
Yeah,
super
for
fun time.
sure. Like, I had a great time just talking about certain things. Learned a lot about Hunter and whatnot. Um, but yeah,
Hopefully some of your viewers did as well.
yeah. If they're watching, leave the VOD up for them to kind of take a look at.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, like I would love to do like a retro. Maybe in like a couple days after we kind of settle
Oh,
in.
that's a great
Um,
idea. Yes. Once we have our AFK relic set up and we're like,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to
exactly.
drop some
Yeah.
logs on the side. That would be super fun. I am absolutely down to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So like we'll just keep playing, but we'll just like use our endless harvest or whatever Larson is.
Yes.
And then we'll
Get
talk
some
about,
passive gains. Yeah.
we'll talk about how our day's been going so far, etc. Like for
Heck yeah.
the league. So
All right,
yeah.
man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would love to have you come back and then we'll get to that. But it's been a great episode. It's been fun talking. Anything else?
No, just again, go into this league, have fun, and good luck, everybody.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for the episode. Thanks, Snap, for joining me, and hope you have a good
I
league
guess I should
start.
probably do like a shameless plug at the end here, huh?
Oh,
Isn't
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
normally
for sure.
what people do? If you're interested in if you liked me as an individual, I have a YouTube channel. It is just at Snaplocket. I've
Mm,
been doing reveal recaps every single day since the reveal season started, and I think I'm going to be putting out some videos as the league goes on that show like some of my progress updates because there have been some people that are like, yeah, I'm curious about how your build shakes out. So I should be putting out some videos that show me actually playing through the league, and we can all see how some of my strategies end up panning out. Maybe in a couple of weeks, there's a video that's posted that's like, I made a mistake not picking a Herblore relic, and we can all laugh at me at that point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you guys want more information, his link is in the description of the YouTube live stream right now, and also in the title. So go check it out. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, Sid, thank you so much for having me. Good luck with your league. I can't wait to get started.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely message each other in Discord and whatnot. So I'll catch you later. Have a good night.
All right, man. Take care. I'm going to go start making some dinner. Goodbye, everybody. Good luck.
All right, see you. All right, well, that's another episode done. Um, yeah, it's another episode. We planned on doing like a short episode, but it ended up being like 2 hours. It's always like that. I kind of get into like a flow, and Snap was getting into a flow of the conversation, so I just kind of let him run with it, and I think we had a pretty good episode. I'll definitely love to check back and kind of look at the points he made about Hunter. I think that's a really good idea just because I was planning on doing some sort of swap. So I did like an update. I know a couple people have been asking me for an update, so I'll have like a full update tomorrow where I just kind of go over my choices again, solidify my decision. And right here, I did put in like an update. I put like a little bit of notes of thinking about going woodsman, and why switch to woodsman, like what are my benefits and whatnot. I'll just kind of quickly talk about it. The main thing is, right, like agility is going to suck to do, but maybe I just tank it because we do have a lot of rooftops, right? We have the Prif rooftop, and then we have RD rooftop. And with like time 16 XP, I feel like, if I just plug away at agility for like 30 minutes a day or even like an hour, I should be able to hit 99, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to push past that. Cooking, cooking. I remember in the past doing like one tick karambwa on fishing or cooking, and you could get like super high XP rates. So maybe I just fish and then manually cook everything. It's not that bad. Smithing. Now, smithing, I could use Butler's Bell to kind of just deal with smithing on its own. Um, it does kind of suck for the early levels, early task, because a lot of the early tasks are. I mean, if you actually look at it, it's not too bad. Like, let me just show you. Like, I made like custom tags on my own because the tags aren't as clean um, within, right? Because some of them have like NA and whatnot and like etc. But anyways, like if you look at smithing requirements, it's not too bad. Like iron bar is 15, smelt a bronze bar is not too bad, and then full bronze armor, um, etc. And then I think there's a couple tasks that are just like, yeah, make like a steel bar, which is required 30 smithing. Make steel bolts, which is 33 smithing. Iron tips, which is gonna involve fletching as well. But what we could do is once we unlock Karamja, you could just buy bronze bars and buy our way to like 30 smithing, like no problem. Um, I do have a money solve. All this stuff I'll talk about in a video tomorrow. Hopefully I get my route done. I mean, it has to come out tomorrow because leagues it's gonna start in less than 2 days. But that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't have to worry too much about smithing, so maybe I don't need Hotfoot. So let's look at like Woodsman benefit. Woodsman gives you auto fire making. Auto fire making, again, very strong. Main reason is, yeah, you could do like bonfires and whatnot, but if you could just AFK cut and just burn them all, it's like the same thing effectively as catching catching fish and cooking them. With this, I don't know if you're going to actually hit 50 mil in both woodcutting and fire making, but maybe we could hit like 25 mils. That could be a potential, which is really nice. And then we could get 99 cooking. The other thing is fletching. So fletching could be massive because fletching early could give us 99 really quickly, and we could push fletching to 200 mil. You have to do a little bit of shopscape, and I have to look at the math for that. Now, the other benefit is chins, right? We get double the loot, double the XP. So effectively, we're getting XP at like 32 times when we're catching chins. And I'm planning on going like a chin build early. So being able to just catch chins, use them up, get our range really high, go for the sunlight crossbow. This seems like a better strategy to kind of like round up. And then the other nice benefit is the seeds that you get. So where does it say that? Traps always drop a random herb seed or tree seed when harvested. Now, this could be really nice just to get the early farming out of the way. And also later on, like we could get a lot of seeds that are beneficial, and we need to get farming going because we don't have any good way to train farming besides to do it like normally. Um, and we need to get at least like at least to a level where we could do like yew trees and magic trees because we'll get a lot of tree seeds from revs, but we need to get to that level. And farming is important because 50 mil farming means 50 mil rune crafting and prayer. Very important because we're going to be using soul harvest. The implinks is nice. The whistles is nice. Just like a little teleport around. That's like the only update I have. I guess I didn't put a tier 8, but I think for tier 8 I am planning to go minion. I think that is what I'm gonna lock in on. Um I guess I won't be getting there until like day 3, day 4. So I don't have to think about minion too much, but still something to consider, something to lock in. Um yeah, I'm gonna get things to do, try to get this route done. I have like a good amount written down in my notepad. It's very hard to like read all these tasks and figure out, but currently I'm mapping how to do this properly. At least 80 tasks. I'm planning on doing more, but at least 80 tasks, and then we could do maybe a little bit of Karamjo task. What else? And I'll make a final update on this. I'll also like put together builds. So these were like builds that I thought of, when the packs were released. But now we have some like better builds, and I will try to replace these. Actually, I honestly should delete them because yeah, like they, I have like a better insight, and I'll have like cleaner form of builds. Like I think this build is going to be very strong, where we primarily go for crossbow first and get our initial levels and whatnot, and then go into ranged throne with the chins. It will take 15 points, and let's see, 15 points. So we got the free and easy ones. Let's look at some medium. So you have to kill one echo boss. Honestly, I think my first echo boss is going to be KBD instead of a Moxie. Mainly because I know what KBD fight looks like, and if I have the Sunlight Crossbow, this should be pretty easy. Fire Cape. I was thinking originally of doing Mage Fire Cape, but I think Sunlight, if I do go Hunter route, I will have Sunlight Crossbow, and that thing's gonna shred. Demonic. I will need to have 2 weapon cells for this. Not too bad. Myth. Not too bad. I feel like if I could do Fire Cape, I should be able to do 3 Jads. It's been a while though. Like it's been like a year and a half since I've done this, so it's always chance to mess things up. Um, I don't know if I'll be close enough to 3rd region, but Dragon 2-handed sword. I just don't know the drop rate, but I would have to farm this. Malediction could be something I'd have to farm, and then Dragon High. Dragon High should be pretty easy. Maybe like 5 or 6 keys. Like we'll get like 1 piece. Not too bad. What did I put for hard? Yeah, these are hard. The main reason why these are hard is just it just takes a long time, right? Like we just have to do a pretty big Slayer grind. So yeah, that's the plan. That's what I want to work on. Get the task list routes, and then an update for Easy Dragon. Um, I think I really need to like fully lock it in before I make the video, of course, and we could go Woodsman. So I just need to sleep on it and make the video for that. But yeah, that's it. That's it for today. Nice little live stream. We had a nice guest. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Peace, peace. Take care.